Chapter 98. Yun Bahai was shocked, but Qin Yu's expression was indifferent, as if he did not care. Soon, more and more blood mist goo poison flowed out of the silver needles. But strangely, the black blood seemed to be restrained by an invisible force and gathered in the silver needles. As more and more black blood gathered, Qin Yu completely condensed it into a pitch-black blood pill. When there was no more blood mist goo poison in the bald man's body, Qin Yu took out the blood pill. This blood pill, condensed from the 5 poisons of the blood mist goo, was extremely poisonous to warriors. But to the 10,000 poison inky dragon, it was a natural supplement, and its cultivation would definitely increase greatly. And the stronger the 10,000 poison inky dragon was, the stronger the dragon's soul's battle strength would be. When the blood mist goo poison in his flesh and organs were purified, the bald man's face clearly became rosy. When Yun Bahai saw this, he couldn't hide his excitement, and his face was filled with excitement. Even without Qin Yu's words, he could tell that the poison in the bald man's body had been neutralized. What is this kid's background? Yun Hongbin, who was guarding outside the loft, also noticed this scene. But for some reason, the bald man did not seem very happy when the blood mist goo poison was neutralized. After neutralizing the blood mist goo poison in his flesh, Qin Yu stretched out his left hand. Battle Dragon Primeval Essence turned into threads and mixed with the poison neutralization liquid before entering the bald man's dantian. Following a faint dragon roar, the Battle Dragon Primeval Essence gathered into an ancient seal. A strange suction force appeared, and the blood mist goo poison in the primeval core was automatically sucked into the ancient seal. But strangely, the primeval essence in the dantian was not damaged because of this. Yun Bahai didn't know what had happened, but the bald man was full of admiration for Qin Lai. Qin Yu's control of primeval essence made him feel inferior. The neutralization of the primeval core poison lasted for 2 hours. When the last wisp of blood mist goo poison in the primeval core was neutralized, Qin Yu extracted his primeval essence. His primeval essence had already turned completely black. That's enough. Qin Yu cut off the ink-black true essence and stored it in a jade box. So fast. Although more than 2 hours had passed, Yun Bahai did not feel that much time had passed. He originally thought that it would take at least a few days for it to be completely resolved. Try using your perception, Qin Yu said to the bald man. When the bald man heard this, he immediately checked the condition of his body. After a while, his face was filled with excitement and ecstasy. Thank you, young master, for saving my life. If you need me, Yun Kuang, in the future, feel free to tell me. That bald man stood up and solemnly bowed deeply to Qin Yu. It's just a transaction. There's no need for such a grand gesture, Qin Yu said calmly. What young master has done is no less than giving our Yun family fort a new lease on life. After checking on Yun Kuang's condition, Yun Batian also thanked Qin Yu solemnly. It seems that the blood mist goo poison has really been resolved. It should be. Otherwise, the first and third fort lords would not be so excited to bow. That's great. This way, our Yun family fort will not be provoked by other forces. The Yun family fort martial honors outside the loft noticed the situation inside and were all very excited and happy. All right, it's your turn. In the loft, Qin Yu did not waste any time and immediately prepared to detoxify Yun Bahai's poison. After detoxifying the poison, he only wanted to go to the blood mist devil stream as soon as possible to see if there was really dragon blood. When Yun Bahai heard this, he sat cross-legged in front of Qin Yu and withdrew the true essence in his body. However, after inserting the silver needles, Yun Bahai heard Qin Yu's soft exclamation and his heart could not help but skip a beat. Young Master Qin Yu, is there a problem? Yun Kuang came over and asked carefully. The time you were poisoned is different? Qin Yu asked. We were both poisoned in the blood mist devil stream. The time before and after should be about the same. Yun Kuang replied. Qin Yu nodded slightly and did not say anything else. Then, he continued to detoxify Yun Bahai's blood poison. However, the time it took was much longer than Yun Kuang's. This time, even Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang felt that something was wrong. Whoosh! Just as Qin Yu was about to detoxify the true essence poison in Yun Bahai's primordial core, a figure used the dense heaven and earth spirit qi of the Cloud Sky Pavilion as cover and quickly rushed toward the Cloud Sky Pavilion. "I'll take care of it," Qin Yu immediately noticed, and Yun Kuang's reaction was not slow either. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and sharp wind blades immediately appeared in the air around him. This was the force of heaven and earth, the force of astral wind that he had comprehended. Pucci! The figure had just entered the Cloud Sky Pavilion when it was engulfed by countless wind blades and turned into a pool of blood mist. The martial practitioners of the Yun family fort around the Cloud Sky Pavilion heard the commotion and immediately gathered. "Don't let anyone in." Qin Yu frowned slightly. As expected, there was something fishy inside the Yun family fort. "Don't worry." Yun Kuang's face was cold as he moved his hands. The wind rose with his true essence and turned into millions of wind blades, forming 4 wind walls. The people of the Yun family fort who were about to enter the pavilion stopped in their tracks, and their faces were filled with joy. Looking at Yun Kuang's appearance, it was obvious that he had completely recovered. Although Yun Hongbin also had a smile on his face, there was a strange look in his eyes. Time passed by quietly. 4 hours later, the blood mist poison in Yun Bahai's primordial core had been completely detoxified. Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang naturally thanked Qin Yu again. "By the way, young Master Qin Yu, why did you ask if we were poisoned for the same amount of time?" However, Yun Bahai was still very concerned about Qin Yu's question. "The blood mist goo poison in your body is almost twice as strong as his. If we were poisoned for the same amount of time, then your blood mist goo poison should have been catalyzed a second time." Qin Yu did not hide anything and said directly, "You mean that someone made the blood mist goo poison in my body worsen?" Yun Bahai's expression could not help but change. Yun Kuang was also shocked. "That's right. I think that someone must have done something to the spirit medicine you took. I can't say exactly when, but it should have happened within the past 2 months." Qin Yu said. Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang looked at each other, and a strong killing intent flashed across their eyes. Was it the Zhu family fort? Or was it a mole arranged by other forces? After Qin Yu successfully neutralized Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang's poison, the whole Yun family fort was naturally very grateful to Qin Yu. They even held a big banquet to thank Qin Yu. Qin Yu wanted to refuse and immediately go to the blood mist devil stream. However, Yun Bahai suggested that he personally take Qin Yu to the blood mist devil stream after the celebration banquet. Therefore, Qin Yu decided to stay. The fact that Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang's poison was neutralized made the whole Yun family fort happy. At the celebration banquet, all the members of the Yun family fort raised their glasses to celebrate. Even the women like Yun Shi drank to their heart's content. Qin Yu, who was talking to Yun Bahai, suddenly seemed to sense something and looked in a certain direction. "Who is it? Who dares to barge into the Yun family fort?" Yun Bahai, Yun Kuang, and Yun Hongbin reacted quickly. They immediately stood up and flew into the sky. "Brother Yun has organized such a big celebration banquet. How can I not come to celebrate?" An arrogant laughter came from a building in the distance. The voice was loud and could be heard from far and near. Chapter 99. Martial Grandmaster Realm. The expressions of the Yun family fort's ancient martial art practitioners changed. That voice contained the fluctuations of the power of heaven and earth. "This is Zhu Lingfeng." Yun Bahai's gaze changed slightly as he looked at the figures flying out of the buildings in the distance. There were quite a number of figures, about 300 to 400. They were all experts from the Zhu family fort. The 3 people in the lead were the 3 fort masters of the Zhu family fort. They were also the 3 martial grandmasters. Oh no, the Zhu family fort is attacking. Don't worry, the Zhu family fort only sent 3 martial grandmasters this time. It seems that they still don't know that the first and third fort masters have been cured of the poison. The ancient martial art practitioners from the Yun family fort, who were celebrating, flew into the sky and gathered behind Yun Bahai and the other 2. Zhu Lingfeng, you brought so many people from the Zhu family fort. Are you here to start a war with the Yun family fort? Yun Bahai stared unkindly at the man in black, who was the leader of the 3 martial grandmasters from the Zhu family fort. Brother Yun, you are exaggerating. Our 2 clans have always been on good terms. Now that we have a marriage alliance, why would I bring people here to start a war? The leader, Zhu Lingfeng, had a big smile on his rough face. There was no trace of killing intent. However, when he saw that Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang had really cured the blood mist goo poison completely, he was shocked. An obvious look of shock flashed across Zhu Lingfeng's eyes. Then what are you trying to do by bringing so many people here? Yun Bahai frowned slightly. The calmer Zhu Lingfeng was, the more vigilant he was. He did not think that the Zhu family fort had come in such an aggressive manner just to celebrate. Of course, he could not figure it out. As he spoke, Yun Bahai had already ordered the Yun family fort to activate terrifying killing formations. As long as the Zhu family fort dared to make a move, they would immediately unleash a fatal attack. I'm sure Brother Yun knows that my grandnephew was killed. Therefore, I'm here today to take away my grandnephew's murderer. I hope Brother Yun can make things easy for me. As Zhu Lingfeng spoke, his cold gaze fell on Qin Yu. It was all because of Qin Yu. The Zhu family fort's prodigy with innate spiritual meridians had been killed, and the Yun family fort's plan had been disrupted. At this moment, Zhu Lingfeng wished he could tear Qin Yu into pieces. I really can't do that. Yun Bahai rejected him coldly. Qin Yu had just cured their blood mist goo poison. They were indebted to him for rebirth. How could they hand Qin Yu over to Zhu Jiabao? Brother Yun, are you really going to harm the harmony between our 2 races for an outsider? The smile on Zhu Lingfeng's face gradually disappeared. Is there still any harmony between our races? A cold light flashed in Yun Bahai's eyes. The worsening of the blood mist goo poison in his body was most likely related to the Zhu family fort. Good, very good. Yun Bahai, since you want to destroy your Yun family fort for this little bastard, don't blame me for ignoring our old friendship. At this point, Zhu Lingfeng's murderous intent could no longer be concealed. It suddenly erupted and swept through the clouds. You want to destroy my Yun family fort? Ha, let's see who will be the one to die. Since they had completely fallen out with each other, Yun Bahai immediately gave the order. In the Yun family fort, rays of light shone from the formation inscriptions. The frightening fluctuations of the spiritual weapons were quietly released and spread out like a ferocious beast that was about to awaken. The martial supremacies, martial emperors, and martial kings of the Yun family fort also took out their spiritual weapons and were all filled with murderous intent. Ha ha ha, Yun Bahai, you are still so stubborn even when you are about to die. Zhu Lingfeng laughed heartily when he heard this, as if victory was already in his hands. The people of the Yun family fort were all puzzled and became more vigilant. Enough with the nonsense. Since you want to fight, then, how can it be? You can't circulate your true essence? Just as Yun Bahai was about to attack, his expression abruptly changed. He realized that the true essence in his body was completely silent at this moment and could not circulate at all. It was not only Yun Bahai, Yun Hongbin, and Yun Kuang, but also the core martial supremacies of the Yun family fort. Their true essence was also silent at this moment as if it had been sealed. Immediately, everyone who was flying in the sky fell down one after another like dumplings. Fort Master! What's going on? What happened? The martial emperors and martial kings of the Yun family fort came to their senses and immediately caught Yun Bahai and the others. Falling from such a high altitude, even a martial grandmaster would die without a doubt. As expected, Qin Yu glanced at Yun Bahai, Yun Kuang, and Yun Hongbin with a strange look in his eyes. Zhu Lingfeng, what did you do? After trying a few times and failing to circulate his true essence, Yun Bahai's heart sank and he was filled with despair. Now that the top executives of the Yun family fort were all banned, the Yun family fort was like a fish on a chopping block. I didn't do anything. I just poisoned you with the odorless spirit-dissolving powder. I paid a high price to get this from the Heavenly Pill Alliance. How do you feel? Zhu Lingfeng and the others flew over and looked down at Yun Bahai. Who is it? The corners of Yun Bahai's eyes twitched and the killing intent in his eyes surged. The person who poisoned them with the spirit-dissolving powder was definitely a core member of the Yun family fort. That was also the reason why Yun Bahai's killing intent surged. The Yun family fort had stood tall for thousands of years. Now it had fallen into the hands of one of their own. Haha, do you think that I will tell you? You can go to hell with your eyes wide open. Zhu Lingfeng looked up to the sky and laughed wildly, arrogant and wanton. After annexing the Yun family fort, the Zhu family fort would become the most powerful force in the 13 houses of Qingzhou. In the future, they would become stronger and gradually annex the 13 houses. Then, the Zhu family fort could become an existence like the 5 great sanctuaries. Little bastard, how dare you kill my grandnephew? Do you think that the Yun family fort can protect you? Then, Zhu Lingfeng looked at Qin Yu and his bone-chilling killing intent surged. Why do you think that victory is already in your hands? Faced with the killing intent of a Wu Zong, Qin Yu smiled faintly and walked to Yun Bahai's side. Roar! Before he finished speaking, a dragon roar sounded and a cold spear radiance that contained a terrifying killing intent suddenly pierced toward someone as fast as lightning. Whoosh! The person who was attacked by Qin Yu felt the terrifying killing intent of the suppressing divine spear, and his gaze changed slightly. His figure flashed and he immediately fled. That person was Yun Hongbin. Hongbin? Second Fort Master? Could it be? This sudden change of events caused the Zhu family fort and the others to react half a beat slower. Yun Bahai, Yun Kuang, and the others looked at Yun Bahai, who was floating in midair with his true essence surging. They were in disbelief. Among the higher-ups of the Yun family fort, only Yun Hongbin was not poisoned. Naturally, it was easy to imagine what this meant. This brat can actually tell that I am not poisoned. Who exactly is he? Yun Hongbin's expression was extremely ugly as he stared coldly at Qin Yu. The originally flawless plan had been ruined by Qin Yu. Fortunately, now that Yun Bahai and the others have been poisoned, Qin Yu alone is simply powerless to reverse the situation. Yun Hongbin, did you poison us? Yun Bahai suddenly became agitated. His body trembled as he roared furiously. Fort Master, there is no need to ask such obvious questions. A cold smile appeared on Yun Hongbin's face as he looked indifferently at Yun Bahai. You bastard! How dare you betray the family? You! Yun Bahai was so angry that he could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 100. Yun Hongbin, why did you do this? Yun Kuang, Yun Tianhe, and the other senior members of the Yun family stared at Yun Hongbin angrily. Despite their anger, they could not understand. As one of the 3 martial arts grandmasters in the Yun family fort, why would Yun Hongbin betray the Yun family fort? Don't call me by this name in the future. I've heard it for a few years and I'm tired of it. Yun Hongbin gave an answer after a strange smile. He moved his right hand over his face and tore off a piece of his face, revealing an unfamiliar face. At this moment, an obvious change occurred to his body. It had become even more muscular and sturdy. At this moment, all the martial artists in the Yun family fort were dumbfounded. Who are you? Yun Bahai was stunned as he stared blankly at Yun Hongbin, who had revealed his identity. Let me introduce you. This is the famous 100 Faces Hades King from the Unseen Pavilion. Zhu Lingfeng laughed loudly. Unseen Pavilion? Qin Yu raised his eyebrows slightly as he recalled the few revered realm martial artists that the Shui clan had invited. Before they died, they seemed to have said that they were from the Unseen Pavilion. It seemed that the Unseen Pavilion had some secrets. At the very least, Qin Yu was curious about this secret technique that could not only disguise one's appearance but also one's body. This was because even he could not see through this person's disguise technique. Are you Mozenro, the legendary heaven-grade assassin who can disguise himself as anyone in the assassination world? Yun Kuang and the others seemed to have heard of this person in disguise. Their expressions changed drastically. Kid, you're not simple. The spirit-dissolving powder did not work on you. After glancing at Yunbahai indifferently, Mozenro looked at Qin Yu with a strange look in his eyes. If it was the spirit-transforming powder, perhaps I would be a little wary. But the spirit-transforming powder is too low-level. Qin Yu smiled. Qin Yu sealed the wine to the dragon's soul the moment he sensed the detoxification powder in the wine. The myriad poisons inky flood dragon fed on all poisons in the world. This poison-dissolving powder just happened to be a great tonic for the 10,000 poisons inky flood dragon. Where's Hongbin? What did you do to him? At this moment, Yunbahai came back to his senses. His sharp eyes looked at Zhu Lingfeng and Mozenro. He died 3 years ago. I had to interrogate him for an entire month before I was able to disguise myself so well that you guys didn't notice any flaws even after several years. Mozenro's indifferent eyes flickered with a faint bloodthirsty light in China. Hearing this, everyone in the Yun family fort became even more furious. Their murderous intent soared. The Yun family fort and the Unseen Pavilion have always minded their own business. Why are you attacking us? Yun Kuang roared at Mozenro angrily. The Unseen Pavilion was a very famous assassination organization in Qingzhou. However, they had always operated in the dark. No one had ever heard of them being openly involved in any power dispute. Mozenro was the Unseen Pavilion's famous heaven-level assassin. However, he had been lurking in the Yun family fort for several years. There must be a huge conspiracy behind this. However, Yun Kuang could not figure out what they were plotting. Why? I think Fort Lord Yun has already guessed it, right? A fiery greed flashed across Mozenro's eyes. Is it because I repeatedly refused to let you enter the ancestral burial ground? That's why you poisoned us with the blood mist goo poison. Now you're working with the Zhu family fort. After Yun Bahai's expression changed, he finally understood the cause and effect of this matter. After learning about Mozenro's true identity, Yun Bahai recalled Mozenro's past actions and quickly guessed Mozenro's motive. Fort Lord Yun is indeed smart. Actually, if you had let me enter the Yun family fort's Wu Xing burial ground earlier, this might not have happened. The greed in Mozenro's eyes intensified. Wu Xing's burial ground? What does that mean? Among the people in the Yun family fort, other than Yun Bahai, the other clansmen were confused. They knew about the ancestral burial ground. It had always been a restricted area in the family. No one was allowed to go near it. However, why did Mozenro say that it was Wu Xing's burial ground? Qin Yu was slightly surprised. Could it be that Wu Xing had appeared in this small Yun family fort before? I forgot that this is the biggest secret passed down by word of mouth in the Yun family fort. Only the fort lord of each generation has the qualifications to know about it, right? Mozenro's gaze swept across the Yun family fort clansmen and chuckled. I can bring you into the ancestral burial ground, but you have to release my clansmen. Yun Bahai said bitterly. Although he did not know how this news had spread to Zhujiang, at this point, there was no point in keeping the secret passed down from generation to generation in the family. Do you think that you are qualified to negotiate with me now? Mozenro smiled coldly and stared at Yun Bahai indifferently. Only I know the way to enter Wu Xing's burial ground. If you don't release my clansmen, I will kill myself here immediately. You can forget about getting what you want. Yun Bahai did not back down and said coldly, "At this point, do you think that I will still let you kill yourself?" Before his voice died away, Mozenro flicked his finger and a black light shot toward Yun Bahai like lightning. Clang! Yun Bahai's pupils shrank and a determined look appeared in his eyes. Just as he was about to bite his tongue and commit suicide, a streak of green light flashed through the air as fast as lightning. The incoming black light was immediately repelled. Junior Qin Yu. Seeing that it was Qin Yu who had made a move, Yun Guxuan and Yun Shi were so excited that their breathing quickened. They did not know why, but when they saw Qin Yu, they were filled with inexplicable confidence. Perhaps it was because Qin Yu had been creating miracles since Qin Yu met him. So far, whether it was the Shui clan, the second prince, or the Duke of the Baijian dynasty. However, all those who provoked Qin Yu did not have a good ending. Take this. After blocking the attack, Qin Yu handed several pills to Yun Bahai and the others. He did not make a move earlier because he was making the pills. Although these pills could not completely purify the spirit dispersing powder, they could make it lose its effect for a while. The eyes of Yun Bahai and the others, who had been full of despair, lit up. Without any hesitation, they swallowed the pills. Although Qin Yu only had a few dozen pills, at least they could give the Yun family fort a fighting chance. "Oh no, kill him quickly!" Mozenro's expression changed slightly. In the void, the majestic power of the heavenly fire swept across the void and turned into a true essence flaming python that was dozens of feet long. It pounced toward Qin Yu. Qin Yu could even cure the blood mist goo poison. Perhaps he could find a way to neutralize the spirit-dispersing powder. Clang! Clang! Zhu Lingfeng also made a move. An ancient war saber appeared in his hand. The war saber slashed in the air. The terrifying saber power condensed and turned into a dazzling saber radiance that was dozens of feet long. Break! Qin Yu took a step forward and stabbed with his spear. The sound of a dragon's roar reverberated through the sky. His killing intent exploded. Boom! Boom! Two ear-splitting explosions were heard, and the aftermath of the explosions was as violent as the waves of the sea, wreaking havoc in all directions. The martial emperors and martial kings in the Yun family fort could not keep their bodies steady. They were all sent flying by the impact. On the other hand, Yun Bahai and the others behind Qin Yu were not affected by the aftermath of the attack. He blocked the attack of the power of heaven and earth? Where did this guy come from? Seeing that Qin Yu was unharmed, Mozenro and Zhu Lingfeng were shocked. A martial king had actually managed to block the combined attack of two martial great masters. Chapter 101. Indeed, the heaven-destroying killing intent alone is no longer enough to fight against a martial grandmaster. Although Qin Yu had not been pushed back, his right hand was slightly numb from the attacks of the two martial grandmasters. The heaven-destroying killing intent was indeed powerful, but Qin Yu's cultivation was too weak. It seemed that he had to use the entire heaven-destroying array to deal with a martial grandmaster. He blocked it? That's great. Yun Guxuan, Yun Shi and the other Yun family fort martial artists were overjoyed after being shocked. As long as Qin Yu could hold on until Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang recovered their cultivation, the Yun family fort could still be saved. This kid is strange. Let's attack together. After the previous exchange, Mozenro and Zhu Lingfeng had completely stopped underestimating him. Immediately, the four martial grandmasters attacked. Streams of heaven and earth aura that could shake the wind and clouds, carrying with them an incomparably frightening killing intent, rushed toward Qin Yu. Secret skill, dragon transformation. Qin Yu shouted, and the green dragon battling the heavens emitted a dazzling green light that merged into his body. Immediately, light cyan-colored dragon scales appeared all over Qin Yu's body. His entire appearance changed drastically in an instant, as if he was a real dragon that was about to evolve. A vast dragon's power emanated from Qin Yu's body and swept across the heavens and the earth. 9 dragons battling the heavens array. Qin Yu took another step forward and the hell-suppressing divine spear burst forth. The power of the spear even tore the air apart. The heaven-destroying killing intent mixed with the green dragon battling the heavens array and formed 9 lifelike giant green dragons with boundless killing intent. Boom boom boom. The 4 martial grandmasters' true origin force and the 9 giant green dragons formed a battle array. They collided wantonly in the heavens and the earth, creating a terrifying shock wave that resembled a tornado. Deng deng deng. Qin Yu, who was in his dragon transformation state, took dozens of steps in the air. The power of his footsteps was so great that the void was like the ground. Pring 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 sounds could be heard, which showed the power of this collision. Even so, Qin Yu was still able to block the combined attacks of Mo Zhenrou and Zhu Lingfeng. We can't let this kid live. Mo Zhenrou and Zhu Lingfeng were only shocked by Qin Yu's talent and combat strength. At this moment, an incomparably intense and terrifying killing intent surfaced in their hearts. Today, no matter what, he had to make Qin Yu stay here. He could not let him leave alive. To them, leaving behind a genius with such shocking talent was undoubtedly digging their own graves. With this thought in mind, Mo Zhenrou and the other 3 prepared to reveal their trump cards. Shocking auras erupted like waves, wave after wave, growing stronger and stronger. Prince Qin Yu, we're here to help you. At this moment, Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang had already temporarily suppressed the poison of the spirit-dispersing powder. Their vast and boundless true yuan exploded, sweeping across the heavens and earth. You guys go deal with the Zhu clan's people. I'll kill that fellow. Before he even finished his words, Qin Yu had already turned into a divine dragon and pounced toward Mo Zhenluo with lightning speed. Qin Yu had his eyes on Mo Zhenrou's disguise technique. Great, I want to see what kind of secret you have. Mo Zhenrou's eyes were filled with killing intent, but there was also a trace of greed in them. He was also very interested in Qin Yu's secret. Although Qin Yu had blocked their combined attacks twice, Qin Yu could not do anything about it. Qin Yu did not know the power of heaven and earth, but he could sense it. Thus, even if he were to fight Qin Yu one-on-one, Mo Zhenluo was not afraid in the slightest. The peerlessly thrilling battle exploded in the void, shaking the heavens and shaking the earth. The momentum was vast and mighty. Kill! Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang charged towards the 3 people from the Zhu clan's fort with shocking killing intent. Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang, who had just escaped death, did not hesitate to unleash their potential. The combat power they unleashed was far greater than before. Although it was 2 against 3, they firmly entangled Zhu Lingfeng and the other 2. Seeing the 2 martial grandmasters fighting, the martial honorables from the Zhu clan's fort also took the opportunity to attack. With their absolute advantage in numbers, they started a bloody massacre in the Yun family fort. Countless people lost their lives. At least there were still dozens of martial honorables in the Yun family fort who had recovered their origin energy. They controlled the killing array in the Yun family fort and stalled the martial honorables from the Zhu clan's fort. Otherwise, the middle-level clansmen in the Yun family fort would have been wiped out. Even so, after this battle, regardless of the outcome, the Yun family fort's vitality would be greatly damaged. Brat, do you really think that you can fight against a martial grandmaster with just a treasure? After exchanging dozens of blows, Mo Zhenrou, who had already confirmed Qin Yu's combat power, laughed wildly. Qin Yu's main combat power came from the mysterious killing intent. However, the killing intent was on the verge of exploding. Mo Zhenrou had easily detonated it several times. This allowed Mo Zhenrou to find Qin Yu's weakness. His figure flashed continuously. 5 true essence figures condensed the power of the heavenly fire and appeared in 5 positions around Qin Yu. This was obviously a formation. Die. 5-turn fire killing array. Mo Zhenrou's 5 figures grinned. The hideous smiles on their faces became even more terrifying. The 5 of them formed hand seals and attacked together. The raging power of the heavenly fire seemed to have completely transformed into a real heavenly fire. The power was so strong that it could burn everything. Even the air became distorted. What can a mere level 1 heavenly fire do to me? Qin Yu's lips curled into a cold smile. Immediately, a killing intent that could destroy the world burst out from Qin Yu's body with a loud bang. It was like clouds and mist that instantly covered an area of several tens of meters. The 5-turn fire-killing array that Mozenro had condensed collapsed on the spot as if it had been attacked by a giant beast. It was the heaven-vanquishing array that Qin Yu had completely activated. How can this be? Mozenro's eyes were filled with shock. His face was ferocious and lifeless. He stared blankly at the huge killing intent array that was a few hundred feet wide. In the huge killing intent array, there were a total of 99 streams of terrifying killing intent that were so condensed that they were almost tangible. They were like fish swimming in water. However, with just one look, Mozenro's hair stood on end. An indescribable sense of impending death filled his heart and made his scalp numb. The moment the celestial killing array appeared, the faces of Zhu Lingfeng and Yun Bahai, who had been fighting fiercely, changed drastically. They all involuntarily stopped fighting and looked toward the direction where Qin Yu was at with incomparable shock. As for the martial honorables from the Zhu family fort and Yun family fort, their faces were even paler. They trembled as if countless swords were pressed against their throats. Let me show you what the real power of a killing array is. With a thought from Qin Yu, the universal heavenly slaughtering array exploded like a berserk great desolation beast. No. Mozenro, whose face was completely pale, only had time to let out a miserable howl before he disappeared into the void like a sandstorm. Other than the summer ring that Qin Yu had purposely left behind, there was nothing left of him. At this moment, regardless of whether it was the people of the Yun family fort or Yun Bahai, Zhu Lingfeng, or the other martial grandmasters, they all looked in horror at the youth who was dressed in white and holding a long spear. Mozenro, who was known as the 100 Faces Hades and who made countless martial grandmasters pale in fright, was dead? Oh my God! That was a martial grandmaster. Even in the 5 great continents, a martial grandmaster who was definitely considered one of the most powerful people had actually turned into dust and dissipated. Most importantly, the person who killed him was a 16-year-old youth? This shocking scene caused everyone's thoughts to stop at this moment. Chapter 102. It's your turn. After killing Mozenro, Qin Yu looked coldly at Zhu Lingfeng and the other two. His murderous intent rose again. It was as if an invincible god of death had descended and was about to slaughter the world. Oh no! Zhu Lingfeng and the other two's faces changed drastically. Their hair stood on end and they quickly escaped without thinking. Boom! However, Qin Yu had already brought along the heaven-astonishing killing array and charged over with a loud bang. Poof! Zhu Lingfeng and the other two used all their strength to block the heaven-slaying array. Their faces turned pale and they spat out blood. However, they also turned into 3 spots of light and disappeared into the sky in the blink of an eye. What a terrifying power! Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang regained their senses when they saw that Qin Yu had injured 3 martial grandmasters with one move. However, they still looked at Qin Yu with shock that could not be concealed. He really didn't know what kind of power could nurture such a terrifying monster. This made them even more certain that there was an invincible expert behind Qin Yu. Perhaps it was the real Wu Xing. The patriarch has run away? Run. When the martial honorables of the Zhu family fort saw this, they all ran away. Even Zhu Lingfeng and the other two, who were martial grandmasters, had run away. If they continued to stay, they would definitely die. When Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang saw this, their faces immediately turned cold. After killing thousands of people of the Yun family fort, they still wanted to run away? Immediately, a massacre began. When faced with 2 martial grandmasters, the hundreds of martial honorables did not have the power to resist, and they died one after another. If not for the fact that the spirit-dispersing powder in Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang's bodies had not been completely dissolved, none of the hundreds of martial honorables would have been able to leave alive. Qin Yu did not chase after them. After confirming that Zhu Lingfeng and the other two had run away in fear, he landed on the ground. He flew to the ground, swallowed a spirit pill, and sat down cross-legged. He wasn't completely unscathed in the battle just now. On the contrary, the backlash from summoning the entire celestial slaughtering formation was hundreds of times more intense than the killing intent alone. Even though Qin Yu had cultivated the fire-lightning dragon body to the fourth revolution and used the secret technique of dragonization, which greatly increased his physical defense, Qin Yu was still unable to withstand it. However, he still suffered serious internal injuries. If Zhu Lingfeng and the other two were to fight to the death with him, Qin Yu would most likely be seriously injured. There was no doubt that the killing intent of the celestial slaughtering formation was extremely terrifying. However, this killing intent was also a double-edged sword. It hurt both the enemy and oneself. However, the backlash that the host received was not that severe, but it was definitely not light either. If Qin Yu hadn't advanced to the martial king realm and raised the grade of the spiritual formation disc, moving the entire heavenly slaughtering formation inside, in today's battle, Qin Yu would at least have one of his arms crippled. Therefore, in Qin Yu's previous life, he had always integrated the celestial slaughtering formation into his own abhijna to increase its power. The reason why he kept using the celestial slaughtering formation was because his cultivation was too weak. Seeing Qin Yu sitting cross-legged there, Yun Bahai and the other members of the Yun family fort didn't go forward to disturb him. They looked at the thousands of dead clansmen, and the entire Yun family fort was filled with sorrow. This unforeseen event could be said to be the biggest crisis that the Yun family fort had faced since they established themselves in Qingzhou. Fortunately, the Yun family fort wasn't completely wiped out. After a full hour, Qin Yu finally recovered from the injuries in his body. This time, I used up nearly 60% of my dragon energy. The dragon soul in the ancient seal of the divine dragon sounded a little heartbroken. Using up 60% of his dragon energy in one battle was a little wasteful. Before refining the real dragon blood, the dragon energy derived from the ancient seal of the divine dragon was limited. For Qin Yu, other than the celestial slaughtering formation, the only thing he could rely on was his dragon energy. If he used up all of his dragon energy, Qin Yu's combat strength would definitely be greatly reduced. It doesn't matter. As long as there is dragon blood in the blood mist demon stream, it will be fine. Qin Yu wasn't surprised. It was reasonable that the azure dragon battling the heavens and the secret art of dragon transformation had used up 60% of his dragon energy. Young Master Qin Yu, the Yun family fort will never forget your great kindness. At this moment, seeing that Qin Yu had awakened, Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang led the countless clansmen of the Yun family fort and bowed respectfully to Qin Yu. If it weren't for Qin Yu's help, the Yun family fort definitely wouldn't have been able to escape from the four martial grandmasters even if they hadn't been poisoned by the spirit-dispersing powder. There wouldn't have only been a few thousand people who would have died. Fort Lord Yun, if you really want to thank me, why don't you tell me the details of the blood mist demon stream? Qin Yu smiled. He was rather concerned about Yun Bahai's confirmation that there was dragon blood in the blood mist demon stream. How can I repay your great kindness with just the blood mist demon stream? As Yun Bahai spoke, other than Yun Kuang, the rest of the clansmen dispersed. I'm sure you already know that the greatest secret of the Yun family fort is the ancestral burial ground. After the rest of the clansmen dispersed, Yun Bahai spoke solemnly. Fort Lord, could it be that the ancestor of the Yun family fort was really a Wuxing? Yun Kuang was shocked. That's right. Yun Bahai nodded. In the ancestral burial ground, There is my ancestors' inheritance. Wu Xing's inheritance? Yun Kuang was rather excited. Every clansman of the Yun family fort has been to the ancestral burial ground when they were born. Unfortunately, no one was lucky enough to obtain my ancestors' inheritance. Yun Bahai felt that it was a pity. Now that things had come to this, the clansmen of the Yun family fort would probably not be able to inherit this opportunity. Fort Lord Yun, are you thinking of giving your ancestors' inheritance to me? Qin Yu understood. With your talent, you should be able to obtain my ancestors' approval and obtain my inheritance. Yun Bahai said seriously. He knew the principle of treasuring a jade ring becomes a crime. The Yun family fort was one of the 13 forts in Qingzhou. However, there were more than a handful of forces in Qingzhou that were stronger than the Yun family fort. Since the unseen pavilion knew about this matter, it would definitely lead to a lot of trouble. Rather than being taken away by other forces in the future, it would be better to give it to Qin Yu, who had given the Yun family fort a new lease of life. Did your ancestor leave behind a divine soul? Qin Yu asked. No. Yun Bahai was stunned. Then forget it. Qin Yu shook his head slightly. This made Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang a little confused. Qin Yu actually did not care about Wu Xing's inheritance. After all, it was Wu Xing's inheritance. Qin Yu indeed did not care. If it was purely to improve his cultivation level, with his attainments in alchemy, he had thousands of ways to improve it. However, ever since he had become a martial king, Qin Yu had never used elixirs to cultivate. The reason was very simple. Starting from the martial king realm, every step was related to the future realm of martial arts. The martial king realm refined the true origin and created the righteous force. The martial emperor realm refined the righteous force and transformed it into the true righteous force. The martial honorable realm awakened the 3 souls and controlled the soul power. The martial ancestor realm comprehended the power of heaven and earth and the mysteries of heaven and earth. Every realm required an incomparably stable foundation. In Qin Yu's previous life, it was because his foundation was unstable in the early stages that he was stuck in the Emperor realm. In this life, Qin Yu would definitely not repeat the same mistake. Other than using the ancient battle dragon art to refine the dragon blood without any side effects to break through his cultivation level, Qin Yu would not rely on any external forces. Seeing that Qin Yu really did not care, Yun Bahai was a little speechless. By the way, young Master Qin Yu, you went to the Blood Mist Demon Stream to look for the dragon blood, right? Suddenly, Yun Bahai seemed to have thought of something and asked. That's right. Qin Yu nodded. Is young Master interested in the ancient dragon scale? Yun Bahai asked. Chapter 103. Ancient Dragon Scale? Qin Yu was stunned for a moment before his face lit up with joy. There's a dragon scale in your ancestral burial ground? To Qin Yu, he could refine anything that contained dragon blood and dragon aura to improve his cultivation. If the ancient era's dragon scale that Yun Bahai mentioned was a real dragon scale, then it would naturally be beneficial to Qin Yu. That's right. Yun Bahai nodded. Let's go and take a look. Qin Yu immediately decided. The 3 of them immediately set off for the ancestral burial ground of the Yun family fort. To their surprise, the ancestral burial ground of the Yun family fort was at the bottom of the cliff. Ka. Yun Bahai took out the ancient token, activated the tomb's boundary, and entered the ancient tomb. The ancient tomb was rather simple. There was only a stone coffin and an altar. There were some tributes placed in front of the stone coffin. There were several items on the altar. Yun Bahai and Yun Kuang knelt and bowed to the stone coffin before arriving at the altar. Wu Xing's boundary? After taking a glance at the altar, Qin Yu knew that there was a valiant spirit formation on top of the altar. It was the power of the boundary left behind by Wu Xing's boundary. It was no wonder that Yun Bahai and the others had been unable to obtain Wu Xing's inheritance. Qin Yu's gaze landed on the altar. There were several items on the altar. There was a jade box, a blood-red battle blade, an ancient secret manual, and a palm-sized dragon scale that shone faintly with starlight. It's actually a dragon scale. Although they could not sense any dragon aura because of the boundary, the dragon's soul recognized it at a glance. It's even an ancient celestial dragon's dragon scale? Qin Yu's eyes were faintly filled with excitement. Since an ancient celestial dragon's dragon scale appeared here, it meant that there was once a celestial dragon continent on this continent. The ancient celestial dragon absorbed the power of the billions of stars in the heavens to cultivate. Even among the dragons in the heavens, it was definitely among the top dragons. Ancient celestial dragon? Sky dragon continent? Thinking of this, Qin Yu's eyes became brighter. Looks like this continent is really not simple. Young Master Qin Yu, this ancient dragon scale was left behind by my ancestor. According to my ancestor's instructions, if anyone can break the barrier, they can take it away. Yunbahai said. Since that's the case, I won't hold back. Qin Yu was slightly surprised. The ancestors of the Yun family fort were quite generous. They even gave away the ancient dragon scale so casually. After taking a closer look at the barrier, Qin Yu entered the azure dragon battling the heavens state with a dragon roar. Chi. Chi. Qin Yu's fingers continued to move as he continuously tapped on the barrier, sending strands of battle dragon true essence into the barrier. Wait a minute. This scene made Yunbahai's expression change greatly, and he immediately wanted to stop Qin Yu. Before the previous great fort master of the Yun family fort died, he had thought of forcefully breaking the barrier. However, in the end, he was directly killed by the power of the barrier, and not even his bones were left. He brought Qin Yu here because he wanted Qin Yu to pass the inheritance test left behind by his ancestor. He did not want Qin Yu to break Wu Sheng's barrier with brute force. Crack. However, just as Yunbahai spoke, a crisp cracking sound could be heard from the barrier. Immediately after, the barrier emitted a golden light, and then it suddenly exploded amidst the countless cracks. It's broken just like that? Yunbahai and Yun Kuang were both stunned and in disbelief. How could a barrier set up by a martial saint be broken so easily? Where did Qin Yu come from? To be able to kill a martial ancestor, Qin Yu had obviously borrowed the power of the terrifying killing formation. However, in order to break through this martial saint's barrier, one would need to have real strength and power. A 16-year-old boy had broken Wu Sheng's barrier. If this news were to spread, it would shock countless people. It would be even more shocking than him killing a martial ancestor. Qin Yu did not hesitate. After breaking the barrier, he picked up the star dragon scale. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The moment he touched the dragon scale, the divine dragon ancient seal trembled slightly, and various dragon shadows appeared. It is indeed a real heavenly dragon scale. Qin Yu and the dragon soul were extremely happy. The divine dragon ancient seal would only react when it contained the true dragon bloodline and dragon chi. With Yunbahai and the dragon soul present, Qin Yu could not immediately refine the dragon scale, so he turned and left the ancient tomb. Young Master Qin Yu, seeing Qin Yu turn and leave, Yunbahai and Yun Kuang were stunned again. They had previously said that they would give their ancestors' inheritance to Qin Yu. Now that Qin Yu had broken Wu Sheng's barrier, these treasures naturally belonged to Qin Yu. They were not the kind of people who would go back on their words after seeing the treasures. This originally belonged to the Yun family fort. The dragon scale is enough for me. Before he finished speaking, Qin Yu flew directly to the cliff. The treasures were nothing more than cultivation techniques, spirit weapons, and memory inheritance. These were not attractive to Qin Yu at all. How bold! In Yunbahai's eyes, it was hard to tell whether it was shock or admiration. Qin Yu did not even look at the treasures left behind by Wu Sheng. Just this boldness alone showed that he was not an ordinary person. If these treasures were to be spread out, who knew how many martial arts grandmasters would fight over them? Of course, after the admiration, Yunbahai and Yun Kuang could not suppress the ecstasy in their hearts. With the martial saint's legacy, the House of Yun would no longer have the guts to provoke them in the Green State. After Qin Yu returned to the Yun family fort, he asked for a secret room and refused to see anyone. Immemorial Battle Dragon Art. Qin Yu sat down cross-legged. With a thought, the ancient sky dragon's scale immediately entered the ancient seal of the divine dragon. As Qin Yu circulated the immemorial battle dragon art, the sky dragon's scale immediately turned into countless star dragon chi. Every star dragon chi was like a mini sky dragon that swam around in the ancient seal of the divine dragon. The dragon chi is contaminated with the poison of the blood mist? Qin Yu, who was about to absorb the dragon chi, suddenly had a slight change in expression. So, this sky dragon's scale was obtained from the blood mist devil stream by the ancestors of the Yun family fort? The dragon's soul reacted. I see. No wonder the Yun family fort definitely has dragon blood in the blood mist secret realm. Maybe, Qin Yu's lips curled into a wide smile. Maybe there is an ancient sky dragon in the blood mist devil stream. After the dragon's soul finished speaking, it laughed heartily. With their current strength, they were unable to deal with the ancient sky dragon. However, if they were really sure that there was an ancient sky dragon in the blood mist devil stream, that would be a joyous occasion for them. As Qin Yu purified the poison of the blood mist in the dragon chi, he thought about the 9 abyss hell dragon. With the ancient sky dragon's scale, he was looking forward to the 9 abyss hell dragon in the 100 countries battlefield. Of course, apart from looking forward to it, Qin Yu could not help but have a trace of doubt in his heart. Normally speaking, there would only be one type of dragon clan on a continent. The dragon clan, like the monster beasts, had their own territories. However, in this continent where the standard of martial arts was not high, there were traces of 2 types of real dragon clan. This caused Qin Yu to be unable to understand it. Refine. After thinking for a while, Qin Yu gave up. The more dragon clan there were, the more benefits it would bring to him. Boom. Immediately, the star dragon chi in the ancient seal of the divine dragon turned into a majestic dragon chi that swarmed out like a river. Every cell in Qin Yu's body was instantly filled with dragon chi. Chapter 104. As the chi of the heavenly dragon entered his body, the 10 dragon veins in Qin Yu's body began to vibrate. Inside his Dantian's primary core, the battle dragon's true origin turned into a giant vortex, crazily devouring the dragon chi. With each stream of heavenly dragon chi devoured, the battle dragon's true origin in his primary core became pure. Bang, 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 bang. As he continued to absorb the chi and refined the true origin, Qin Yu's cultivation improved by leaps and bounds once again. From the 5th layer Martial Emperor realm to the 9th layer Martial Emperor realm. However, this time, Qin Yu did not use all of the dragon chi to improve his cultivation. After reaching the peak of the 9th layer Martial Emperor realm, Qin Yu merged the remaining dragon chi into his blood and dragon veins. Gurgle gurgle. The blood in Qin Yu's body began to change immediately. The faint golden color due to the consumption of the dragon scale fruit became denser. As the golden blood merged with the dragon vein became more solid, like a real dragon. Dragon runes even appeared on the dragon vein, faintly emitting a crimson glow. Red-ranked dragon vein. The dragon veins formed by cultivating the ancient battle dragon technique were divided into 9 grades: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, golden, and dragon. The red-ranked dragon vein was equivalent to an ordinary innate spiritual vein. When the dragon vein's blood was refined to the strongest dragon vein, Qin Yu would be able to transform into a real dragon, comparable to an innate immortal. However, Qin Yu had refined a lot of dragon blood in his past life, but he had only refined the power of the dragon vein to the blue dragon vein. In order to achieve the dragon transformation stage, Qin Yu wondered if he would need to devour the blood of a real dragon. The dragon soul's cultivation also benefited greatly, reaching the 8th layer martial emperor realm. The dragon soul did not need to form a dragon vein, thus it was purely used to improve its cultivation. Unfortunately, although the dragon scale contained a strong dragon chi, the dragon blood was too thin. The ancient seal of the mystical dragon could not break down the natal skills of the heavenly dragon tribe. After both of their cultivations improved, Qin Yu left the secret chamber, planning to investigate the blood mist demon stream. Fort Lord Yun. After walking out of the secret room, Qin Yu saw Yun Bahai waiting there. Young Master Qin Yu. Yun Bahai went up to him with a face full of smiles. However, the moment he saw Qin Yu, Yun Bahai stopped in his tracks, and his eyes widened in shock. In such a short period of time, Qin Yu's cultivation had improved from the 5th layer martial emperor realm to the peak 9th layer martial emperor realm. What kind of cultivation speed was this? Could it be that there was a great opportunity hidden in the ancient dragon scale? Or could it be that Qin Yu's original cultivation had long surpassed that of a martial king, and he was just recovering his cultivation? Fort Lord Yun, how much do you know about the blood mist devil stream? Qin Yu ignored Yun Bahai's astonishment and went straight to the point. I was worried that you would leave, so I came here in a hurry. As Yun Bahai spoke, he handed a secret scroll to Qin Yu. This is the map that my ancestor used to explore the blood mist devil stream. Look here. This blood-red mark is said to be a dragon blood ancient pool. My ancestor found the dragon scale here. Qin Yu opened the secret scroll. Yun Bahai pointed at a blood-red mark on the map and said, they had been poisoned by the blood mist goo poison because they wanted to go to the blood mist devil stream to try their luck. Dragon blood ancient pool? Qin Yu and the dragon soul were shocked. If the heavenly dragon scale was found here, could it be that the ancient pool was formed by the heavenly dragon's blood? After receiving the secret scroll, Qin Yu did not stay in the Yun family fort for long. Originally, Yun Bahai wanted to personally bring Qin Yu to the blood mist devil stream. However, the Yun family fort had encountered a great change. The Zhu family fort and the unseen pavilion could attack at any time. Therefore, he had to stay in the Yun family fort. Qin Yu did not care about this. With his current strength, he did not need anyone to protect him. Yun Shi, who was in the crowd, did not say a word until Qin Yu left through the teleportation array. When she was in the Zhen Wu dynasty, she still had some fantasies. However, after the battle at the Yun family fort today, she completely recognized the boundary between her and Qin Yu. A 16-year-old prodigy who could kill a martial ancestor would definitely become an overlord of the continent in the future. She and Qin Yu were no longer people of the same world. After leaving the Yun family fort, Qin Yu came to a main city called Red Rainbow City. Red Rainbow City was the closest main city to the blood mist devil stream. Of course, it was also thousands of miles away from the blood mist devil stream. After Qin Yu came out of Red Rainbow City, his appearance changed completely. His originally handsome facial features became ordinary, and his figure became slightly shorter. This was the disguise secret skill that he had obtained from Mozenro. This secret skill originated from a secret skill called shape-shifting. Rumor had it that the shape-shifting ability could not only change one's physique, but it could also change one's appearance and imitate one's voice. It could even change into anything. It was an extremely powerful ability. However, the real shape-shifting secret skill had been lost a long time ago. Mozenro had only obtained a fragment of it. Even so, Mozenro had made a name for himself in the assassination world. The reason why Qin Yu had disguised himself was because he did not want to expose his whereabouts. Before going to the Blood Mist Devil Stream to find out more about the ancient sky dragon, Qin Yu did not want to cause any more trouble. After flying for 2 days, Qin Yu came to the famous Blood Mist Devil Stream in Qingzhou. The entrance to the Blood Mist Devil Stream was a natural canyon called the Blood Mist Canyon. At the end of the Blood Mist Canyon, there was a thick blood mist chi. With the canyon as the center, there was not a single blade of grass growing within a few hundred miles. It was dead silent. There are ripples of Sumeru's space. Qin Yu came to the end of the Blood Mist Canyon. After sensing it, his face was filled with shock. Is this the Xiantian realm? The dragon soul's eyes glittered. It doesn't look like it was formed naturally. It looks more like a man-made Sumeru realm. Qin Yu shook his head slightly. It can't be. To create a Sumeru realm, one needs to be at least a martial progenitor. The dragon soul was shocked. There could not be a martial progenitor hidden in this continent, right? Something is wrong. Qin Yu squinted his eyes. The ancient celestial dragon was actually in a Sumeru realm. Was this out of his expectations? The dragon tribe did not need to create a Sumeru realm. This was because the dragon tribe had their own dragon realm. Of course, regardless of the situation in the Sumeru realm, Qin Yu still had to enter to find out. Roar. When Qin Yu entered the Blood Mist Demon Stream, he could hear the faint roar of a dragon. The dragon roar was sometimes far and sometimes near, making it difficult to find. Dragon soul! Qin Yu stood in place and looked around. It was indeed the Sumeru realm. The ripples of space were very obvious. The dragon soul understood and immediately used a secret technique to sense it. There is a strong spatial seal here. My secret technique is suppressed and I can't sense it. However, after a while, the dragon soul gave up on sensing it. It seems that I can only go to the Dragon Blood Ancient Pool recorded on this map. Qin Yu took out the secret scroll map and began to walk in the general direction. There was no choice. The Blood Mist Demon Stream was too thick and it was impossible to tell the direction. Fortunately, Qin Yu had already awakened a round of soul power and could roughly sense the terrain around him. As long as he was near the Dragon Blood Ancient Pool, he should be able to sense it. Along the way, Qin Yu encountered many ferocious beasts, but they were easily dealt with by him. Perhaps the beasts in the Blood Mist Demon Stream had absorbed the blood mist chi, but they had become unusually bloodthirsty. Chapter 105. After wandering around the Blood Mist Demon Stream for 3 days, Qin Yu finally found the Dragon Blood Ancient Pool. The Dragon Blood Ancient Pool was 99 feet in size and was grayish-white in color. However, upon closer inspection, one could see that the ancient pool was made of bones. In the ancient pond, extremely thick scarlet blood gushed out like a dark spring. However, the strange thing was that the blood did not have any fishy smell. Instead, it had a strange fragrance. This is not dragon blood at all. Qin Yu squatted down and took a look. He frowned after taking a look at a drop of blood. There were many types of blood in the blood, but most of it was human blood. This made Qin Yu frown even more as he looked at the information on the secret scroll that Yunbahai had given him. Yunbahai would not deliberately give him a fake secret scroll, and the heavenly dragon's scale was indeed real. However, why was there no dragon blood in the Dragon Blood Ancient Pool that should have contained dragon blood? According to the secret scroll, the Dragon Blood Ancient Pool should be extremely dangerous. Now that there was no dragon blood, there was no danger. Could it be that someone beat us to it? The dragon soul asked. After all, it was dragon blood. Even if the Blood Mist Demon Stream was a forbidden area in Qingzhou, there was no lack of skilled and bold people. It's possible that someone beat us to it, but why fill it with blood again? Qin Yu looked at the drop of blood carefully. It was not the blood mist goo poison, but ordinary blood. At this moment, Qin Yu's expression changed. He immediately withdrew his aura and escaped into the blood mist. Not long after, the sound of wind breaking could be heard. It was 10 martial artists, all of whom were martial kings. However, the 10 martial kings were carrying several martial artists on their back. They had different cultivation levels. There were Earth Martial Realm, Sky Martial Realm, and Martial Kings. However, Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul were both surprised when they saw the 10 martial kings. Although the 10 martial kings were emitting a strong bloody aura. However, there was an extremely faint dragon aura around his body. As expected, someone else beat him to it. Just as Qin Yu felt that this trip was a waste, he saw the 10 martial kings leaping into the ancient pool one after another. There seems to be something hidden under the blood pool, the Dragon Soul said with interest. Maybe it's related to the dragon blood. Qin Yu arrived in front of the ancient pond. After thinking for a moment, he surrounded himself with true essence and quietly dived into the blood pond. The dragon blood aura on the bodies of those 10 martial artists also made Qin Yu somewhat concerned. After diving for about 1,000 feet, Qin Yu saw an ancient door in the blood pool. A formation appeared in front of the ancient gate, isolating the blood. Qin Yu glanced at it and avoided the perception restriction of the formation, passing through it like a leopard. After entering the ancient gate, there was a long black stone passageway. Underground ruins! Arriving at the end of the black stone tunnel, Qin Yu saw a rather spectacular underground ruin. All kinds of ancient palaces stood tall, but they were all dilapidated and filled with the aura of time. At this moment, a group of people were busy on an ancient altar in the center of the underground ruin. They tied the martial artists to bronze pillars and slit their throats to let out blood. Blood's sacrifice. Qin Yu took a look and recognized that this was some kind of blood sacrifice using human blood. Look over there. After looking in the direction of the Dragon Soul's voice, Qin Yu's eyes narrowed. It was a huge bone palace. However, what caught Qin Yu's attention was that the bone palace was actually built with dragon bones. Had a dragon fallen here before? That can't be the ancient heavenly dragon we're looking for, right? The Dragon Soul probed, but it didn't find any dragon blood aura from the bone palace. Let's go and take a look. For some reason, Qin Yu felt that there seemed to be some secret hidden here. Qin Yu looked around and fixed his eyes on a martial artist who was alone. He lurked over like a ghost and easily killed him. Soon, Qin Yu changed his clothes and disguised himself as that person and walked towards the bone palace. When passing by the altar, Qin Yu discovered that the altar was connected to the bone palace. The blood of the blood sacrifice on the altar flowed into the bone palace. After walking over to the bone palace, Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul both started to carefully inspect it. It's really dragon bones, however, it's hard to say whether it's a heavenly dragon or not. Looking at the appearance of the dragon bones, it should have been dead for hundreds of years. Strange, the dragon race has been dead for so many years, it's impossible for the dragon's body to be petrified. Indeed, the dragon bones don't contain the power of the dragon race. From the looks of it, it seems like someone has taken away all the power in the dragon bones. While Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul were observing the dragon bones, 7 martial monarchs walked out of the bone palace. During the blood sacrifice, no one is allowed to approach the dragon god palace. Don't you know the rules? The old man in the lead immediately scolded angrily when he saw Qin Yu sneaking in front of the bone palace. The dragon blood aura on their bodies is much stronger? When Qin Yu and the Dragon Soul saw this, they both looked towards the depths of the bone palace. The pressure of the seal that was everywhere made it impossible for them to sense the situation inside the bone palace. However, from the looks of these people, there seemed to be dragon blood in the bone palace. Bastard, didn't you hear this elder talking to you? Seeing that Qin Yu ignored him, the old martial monarch was furious. Berserk blood-colored true essence swept out like a blood-colored giant beast, pouncing towards Qin Yu. Dragon Soul, haven't you always wanted to find someone to practice your moves? I'll leave them to you. Qin Yu didn't even look at the 7 martial monarchs and directly turned to walk into the bone palace. The Dragon Soul laughed sinisterly, and the ferocious myriad poison inky flood dragon rushed out of thin air. After refining the 2 blood pills of the blood fog poison, the myriad poison inky flood dragon's strength had increased rapidly. Now, it had reached LV3 martial monarch realm. Bang! Shinran swung its tail, shattering the blood-colored true essence, and the myriad poison inky flood dragon directly pounced on the 7 people. After a battle, the dragon soul easily killed the 7 martial monarchs. Oh no, a martial monarch realm demonic beast has invaded. We're in the middle of the blood sacrifice now. We can't disturb Lord Dragon God. Quickly stop it. The death of the 7 martial monarchs immediately caused a commotion. Many figures appeared and rushed towards the myriad poison inky flood dragon. The dragon's soul laughed disdainfully. The myriad poison inky flood dragon opened its mouth and spat out a billowing myriad poison fog. Those martial artists who came into contact with the poisonous fog, even if they had true essence to protect their bodies, their flesh and blood immediately rotted and quickly turned into a pool of black blood. There was no corpse left. This shocking scene immediately caused a large-scale panic. No one dared to approach. Seeing this, the dragon's soul stepped on the mist and quickly entered the Bone Palace. At this time, the martial monarchs and martial venerables in the Bone Palace had all been killed by Qin Yu. However, at this moment, Qin Yu was standing in front of a blood pool, looking at it with rapt attention. This blood pool was exactly the same as the dragon blood ancient pool that they had entered. What's wrong? Seeing that Qin Yu was a little strange, the dragon's soul immediately flew over. Come and take a look. This is also a dragon soul, right? Qin Yu blinked and pointed at the blood-colored ferocious dragon shadow in the blood pool. Haha, it's really a dragon soul. The dragon's soul took a look and could not help but exclaim in surprise. The blood-colored ferocious dragon shadow kept rolling in the blood pool, as if it wanted to break out of the blood pool. However, it was imprisoned by a mysterious force and could not leave the blood pool. Chapter 106. Are you sure it's a dragon soul? Qin Yu asked. Is there a problem? The dragon's soul was surprised. There was no reason for Qin Yu not to see such an obvious dragon soul. How should I put it? The ancient seal of the divine dragon did not react to it. Qin Yu said. It can't be. The dragon soul carefully sensed and confirmed that the blood-colored dragon shadow was a dragon soul. Maybe it was the dragon soul in the dragon bone. Immediately, the dragon soul returned to the ancient seal of the divine dragon. But the situation was indeed as Qin Yu said. The ancient seal of the divine dragon did not react at all. Strange. The dragon soul was even more surprised. There was no reason for the ancient seal of the divine dragon to not react to the dragon soul. Could it be because of the blood sacrifice? Looking at the churning blood, the dragon soul guessed. Not likely. After Qin Yu shook his head slightly, the battle dragon true qi condensed into a true essence hand and directly entered the blood pool. Since it was not easy to judge whether this blood-colored dragon shadow was a dragon soul or not, then he would detain it and take a look. Crack! The moment Qin Yu's true essence hand entered the blood pool, a subtle sound like the sound of shackles breaking was heard. Restriction? Qin Yu was slightly startled. Just as he was about to confirm whether he had triggered the restriction, the blood pool suddenly shook violently. Ong! In the next moment, a resounding dragon roar sounded from the blood pool. Immediately, a blood pillar of several feet tall shot up high from the blood pool. In the blood pillar, the ferocious blood-colored dragon shadow was fiercely staring at Qin Yu with a violent and bloodthirsty intent. Ancient Sky Dragon. The ancient seal of the divine dragon trembled slightly, and a star dragon shadow appeared. It was the sky dragon shadow. Haha, it's really the sky dragon soul. The dragon soul was excited. After devouring a real dragon soul, it would be able to transform directly. Qin Yu's face also disappeared. He formed a seal with both hands and was ready to attack. Ong ong ong! But suddenly, the sky dragon soul that rushed out of the blood pool roared towards the sky. In the next moment, the entire underground ruins trembled violently. Thousands upon thousands of dragon chi swept over from all directions, madly pouring into the heavenly dragon's soul. Immediately, the heavenly dragon's soul, which originally needed the blood pillar to maintain its soul body, immediately condensed its dragon body. His cultivation was also rising at an astonishing speed. Martial Emperor Stage. Martial Honored Realm. Martial Ancestor Realm. Wu Xing's Realm. Damn it! When the cultivation of the heavenly dragon's soul broke through to the martial god realm and continued to improve. The smile on Qin Yu's face froze as he turned around and ran. What a joke! Even if he used the divine dragon ancient seal, he wouldn't be able to suppress a martial god. Who exactly is it that suppressed this dragon soul here? The dragon soul was also very surprised. This heavenly dragon soul had been sealed for who knows how many years. However, the strange thing was that the origin dragon soul power did not seem to have dissipated much. This method made the dragon soul somewhat concerned. Because even he, without the divine dragon ancient seal, would not be able to preserve his origin soul power without dissipating. One had to know that as long as the origin dragon soul power did not dissipate, after the heavenly dragon's soul condensed its body again, it would immediately recover to its peak cultivation. Rumble! The heavenly dragon's soul sensed Qin Yu's escape. After letting out an earth-shaking roar, it immediately chased after him. The dragon's body, which had already expanded to 300 meters, directly crushed the bone palace, causing the entire underground palace to tremble. On Qin Yu's body, there was a wave of energy that was extremely tempting to it. Dragon God? Lord Dragon God has appeared. I didn't expect that I would actually be able to see Lord Dragon God. Looking at the heavenly dragon's soul, which emitted a vast dragon's might, those mysterious cultivators were all shocked as they all knelt on the ground. Whoosh! Qin Yu, who was flying at an extremely fast speed, looked at those cultivators kneeling on the ground and thought. The Azure Dragon Heaven Battling Dragon grabbed and knocked out a core martial honored realm cultivator. Regarding this heavenly dragon's soul, these cultivators who performed the blood sacrifice should know something. Dragon Suppressing Seal. Heaven Punishing Array. When Shao Chun sensed the heavenly dragon's soul's ferocious aura charging over, he immediately changed his mind. Qin Yu's right hand changes and shoots out a cyan-colored dragon seal. His left hand opens and the entire heavenly slaughtering formation is activated. Rumble! Space trembled, and the heavenly dragon's soul with its vast dragon's might was blocked. However, in merely 2 breaths of time, the Azure Dragon's seal crumbled, and the heaven-punishing array dissipated. However, with these 2 breaths of time, Qin Yu's figure flashed and disappeared into the tunnel. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As the heavenly dragon's soul charged over, the tunnel immediately crumbled. However, just as the heavenly dragon's soul charged out of the tunnel, the entire blood mist demonic stream suddenly trembled endlessly. The power of the seal? Qin Yu, who had just reached the bottom of the blood pool, paused. Shao Chun sensed that the seal covering the entire blood mist demonic stream was gathering at this moment. The boundless power of the seal suppressed the heavenly dragon's soul, firmly sealing it in the underground remnant. No matter how the heavenly dragon's soul charged at it, it could not break through the seal. This fluctuation, as Qin Yu looked at that sealing energy that seemed to be real, Qin Yu's eyes narrowed. It's the power of a venerable emperor. The heavenly dragon's soul's huge dragon eyes turned extremely grave. This Sumer realm was not opened by a martial venerable, but by a venerable emperor. This situation greatly exceeded Qin Yu and the heavenly dragon's soul's expectations. A venerable emperor actually came to this continent? Qin Yu's eyes flickered as he thought to himself. Even in the entire heaven domain, there were not many venerable emperors. Yet, a venerable emperor had actually come to this remote continent. What was even stranger was that a venerable emperor had come. Then, why was the heavenly dragon's soul not captured but sealed here? The heavenly dragon's soul was not weak, but in front of a venerable emperor, it was not an exaggeration to say that it was a baby. There was no reason for a true dragon's soul of the dragon race to be left here, right? Let's retreat first. Qin Yu pondered for a while, then turned around and left. In the current situation, not to mention dealing with the heavenly dragon's soul, he could not even break this sealing array. Not long after Qin Yu left, a vague and graceful figure appeared in the venerable emperor's seal power. When the heavenly dragon's soul, which was violently colliding with the seal power, saw the graceful figure, its bloodthirsty and wild eyes showed obvious fear and panic. If Qin Yu were here, if he were to see that indistinct graceful figure, even a venerable emperor has appeared. What secrets is hidden in this continent? Even after coming out of the blood pool, the heavenly dragon's soul was still in disbelief. Who cares? However, judging from the fluctuations of the seal, it should have been here for hundreds of years. Since it had been so long, the seal that was left behind had not come, most likely it would not come back. This was great news for Qin Yu and the others. When Xiao Chen's cultivation became stronger in the future, this heavenly dragon's soul would become a turtle in a jar. After thinking for a while, Qin Yu left dozens of soul-bewitching formations in a 3-kilometer radius around the blood pool, one every 30 meters. This was to prevent others from finding out about the heavenly dragon's soul at the bottom of the blood pool. After doing this, Qin Yu looked at the martial saint he had married and executed a soul-secret technique. Soon Qin Yu, whose face was slightly pale, obtained all of the martial exalted's memories. Chapter 107. Qin Yu learned that this group of people was called the Dragon God Sect through the secret soul technique. They were originally a group of demonic beast hunters who discovered the heavenly dragon's soul in the blood pool by chance. Under the bewitchment of the heavenly dragon's soul, they sacrificed their blood in exchange for dragon chi to cultivate. In less than 10 years, the Dragon God Sect expanded rapidly, and several martial venerables appeared. If they were given a few more decades, they would probably become an existence like the 13 houses of Green Province. However, after Qin Yu checked the martial venerable's condition, he could not help but shake his head. The heavenly dragon's soul was obviously keeping these cultivators in captivity. When they were strong enough, it would devour their blood essence. Is it planning to accumulate strength to break the seal? It's quite smart. The Dragon God Sect's soul praised. After being sealed for hundreds of years, it was still able to maintain its consciousness. The heavenly dragon's soul's vitality was also very tenacious. The seal of a venerables is specially made to suppress it. How can it be broken so easily? Qin Yu smiled and turned to leave. Qin Yu stayed in the blood mist demon stream for a day before leaving and flying in the direction of the Zhenwu dynasty. Although he did not obtain the dragon's blood on this trip to the Yun family fort, his harvest was quite bountiful. Not only did he obtain a heavenly dragon's scale, but he also discovered a heavenly dragon's soul. 3 days later, Qin Yu crossed 72 counties and flew out of the Yun family fort's territory. Rumble. 5 days later, Qin Yu, who was flying in the air, suddenly felt a vast heavenly might. Qin Yu looked into the distance and saw rolling dark clouds gathering in the distant sky. Earth-shaking thunder exploded continuously and could be heard from far and near. Lightning? No, this is a lightning tribulation. Qin Yu's eyes lit up, and he immediately flew over. His fire-lightning dragon body had not made any progress after reaching the 4th revolution. Now that he encountered a lightning tribulation, he naturally could not miss this opportunity. The strength of his physical body was directly linked to the backlash of the heavens-killing formation. As long as his physical body was strong enough, he could completely ignore the backlash of the heaven-punishing formation. It seems like a demonic beast is undergoing its tribulation. After the dragon's soul sensed it, it sensed a strong demonic aura. After a short while, Qin Yu arrived at the location of the lightning tribulation. It was a desolate mountain range. Within the mountain range, there was a snow-white spirit turtle that was over 150 feet in size. It was currently enduring the thunderbolts that filled the sky. Mountain black tortoise. Qin Yu recognized the snow-white spirit turtle. The mountain black tortoise had the bloodline of the divine beast black tortoise, and was known for its astonishing defense and strength. A young mountain Xian tortoise already had the power of a mountain. An adult mountain Xian tortoise would be even more powerful. If the mountain black tortoise's bloodline power could continue to evolve, it could become the divine mountain black tortoise in the future, which was enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with the real divine beast black tortoise. It was an extremely rare spirit beast. Its breaking through to martial ancestor. The dragon's soul watched with great interest. He had just broken through to the martial ancestor realm, and he was already able to attract the manifestation lightning tribulation. The mountain black tortoise's bloodline power was not weak. However, at that moment, the mountain black tortoise's entire body was covered in thunderbolt scorch marks. Even the back of the tortoise, which was covered in mysterious veins, had obvious cracks vaguely appearing. The mountain black tortoise might not be able to withstand the lightning tribulation. Apart from Qin Yu, there was a group of martial artists hiding beneath the mountain range. The information is indeed true. The mountain black tortoise will undergo the lightning tribulation today. The weakest among the group of martial artists was at least a martial honorable. The two leaders had even reached the martial ancestor realm. Looking at their clothes, it was obvious that they were from the same force. If we can obtain the bloodline of a 9th-grade spirit beast, it might be able to help us break through to Wu Xing realm in the future. A skinny martial ancestor with a cold gaze looked at the mountain black tortoise that was struggling in the thunderbolts, and his expression was filled with excitement. Don't reveal your aura. Let's wait for the beast's strength to be exhausted by the lightning tribulation before we take action. Beside the skinny martial ancestor, a middle-aged man with dignified features could not hide the excitement in his eyes. Who is it? However, at that moment, a figure flew over from the void and charged towards the area where the lightning tribulation was. The middle-aged man and the skinny martial ancestor were shocked. Don't worry, it's only a martial king realm. However, after taking a closer look, they were relieved. Although they did not know where he came from, a mere martial king realm dared to attack the mountain black tortoise. He was digging his own grave. Boom! The mountain black tortoise, which was undergoing the lightning tribulation, also noticed that there were humans who had barged in. It thought that the humans wanted to take the opportunity to attack it and immediately shot out a large yellow light pillar towards Qin Yu. However, something unexpected happened to the group of martial artists and the mountain black tortoise. Qin Yu did not attack. In a flash, he charged into the sky and entered the lightning tribulation. What is he doing? That scene caused the martial artists and the mountain black tortoise to be dumbfounded. That was the lightning tribulation of the heavens and earth. Even the mountain black tortoise, which was known for its defense, could not withstand it. What was Qin Yu trying to do? However, a scene that caused them to be even more shocked took place. Qin Yu, who had flown into the tribulation lightning, directly stood in midair and attracted all of the heavenly lightning to him, allowing them to strike his body. Could that person be a transformed demonic beast? Seeing that Qin Yu was able to withstand the bombardment of so many heavenly lightning bolts, the flabbergasted thin martial ancestor mumbled. Not to mention the skinny martial ancestor, even the mountain black tortoise was confused. Why would a human help it? Under normal circumstances, wouldn't a human take the opportunity to attack it? Damn it! Who is this person? The words of the skinny martial ancestor caused the other martial ancestor to recover from the shock. After Qin Yu's actions, their plan had been disrupted. Especially when they saw the mountain black tortoise emitting a faint jade glow and the bloody cracks on its back gradually healing. The other martial ancestor's face turned pale. Sect leader, what should we do now? A martial honorable asked. If they waited for the mountain black tortoise to recover completely, it would be difficult for them to obtain the black tortoise bloodline. Let's wait a little longer. The other martial ancestor pondered for a moment and decided to wait and see. Although he was shocked, he was still relatively calm. He did not think that a martial king could withstand the lightning tribulation of a martial ancestor realm beast. However, the other martial ancestor's thoughts were destined to fail. Qin Yu, who was continuously struck by the lightning tribulation, revealed his true appearance. Although he was grimacing in pain from the lightning tribulation and his body was covered in wounds, he did not take a step back. Qin Yu's fire lightning dragon body had already reached the fourth transformation and formed the fire dragon tattoo. Although he could not withstand the lightning tribulation, he would not collapse just like that. While enduring the lightning tribulation, Qin Yu continuously circulated the fire lightning dragon body to absorb the lightning tribulation that exploded on his body. Just like that, although Qin Yu's injuries were shocking. However, the truth was that his physical body was growing stronger at a rapid pace. The other martial ancestor, who was waiting for Qin Yu to be struck to death by the lightning tribulation, became more and more shocked as they waited. Such a terrifying fleshly body. Could this person really be a demonic beast in human form? Chapter 108. Half an hour later. We can't wait any longer. Let's go. Seeing that Qin Yu was on the verge of collapsing but was still able to withstand the lightning tribulation, the dignified man immediately gave the order. Immediately, the group of people dashed toward the mountain black tortoise. Before the lightning tribulation ended, the demonic beasts would not leave the place of the lightning tribulation. Therefore, they had to seize the opportunity. If the lightning tribulation ended or if the mountain black tortoise recovered from its injuries, it would be difficult for them to keep the mountain black tortoise here. The mountain black tortoise, who was looking at Qin Yu in shock, instantly sensed the murderous intent directed at it. It tilted its head and saw the dignified man and the skinny martial ancestor leading their men to attack it. A rank 3 martial ancestor realm. A rank 2 martial ancestor realm. The others were all rank 7 martial honorables and above. This time, the mountain black tortoise did not need to look to know that these people were targeting it. It opened its huge mouth and spat out a series of earthy yellow light beams. Poof! A few martial honorables were slightly slower. Under the yellow light beam, they immediately turned into ashes and dissipated. This is the gravity superpower. It will affect the gravity around you. Spread out and keep a distance. Feeling the gravity of the yellow light, the dignified man immediately shouted. Poof! As he spoke, the dignified man attacked coldly and an ancient sword with a sky-blue glow appeared. The ancient sword slashed out and a blue sword ray that was a few feet long slashed out in the air. Bang bang bang! The skinny martial ancestor clenched his hands into fists and punched out with a strong golden glow. Fist radiance that seemed to be forged from gold blasted out like a violent storm. The other martial honorables also attacked. Facing the attacks of the martial ancestor and martial honorables, the mountain black tortoise did not move. Streaks of faint jade spiritual inscriptions appeared on its shell, forming a faint jade light shield. The faint jade light shield looked very thin. However, to everyone's surprise, the violent attacks of the martial ancestor and martial honorables only caused ripples on the faint jade light shield. However, the dignified man and the others were not surprised. They had already seen the shocking defense of the mountain black tortoise. While the mountain black tortoise was defending, they appeared in the void around the mountain black tortoise and each took out a formation diagram. The formation diagram shone and formed a large golden formation that covered the mountain black tortoise. Boom! 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 The mountain black tortoise sensed that something was wrong and shot out beams of yellow light beams. However, the beams of the formation's yellow light beams of the formation diagram Go. Seeing that he had successfully trapped the mountain black tortoise, the dignified man revealed a cold smile and made a hand gesture. The mountain black tortoises, the mountain black tortoise take off the mountain black tortoise. Of the black tortoises of the mountain black tortoises of the mountains attack. Instantly to the end star earth the tortoise to the two to the twos to the end to the this to go. The foots mountain, s to the end s2 to the mountains to black, sensing that the demonic power in its body was gradually dissipating, the mountain black tortoise roared and struggled uneasily. Everyone, get closer. Attack with all your might and break that jade barrier. The honorable man shouted honorable of to Tion black demon immediately. Everyone controlled the formation to suppress the mountain black tortoise and attack. The honorable man and the others did not notice that there were 3 figures in the mountains behind them. There were 3 figures. All of them had their arms crossed as they looked at them coldly. Not only did that kid block the heavenly lightning, but he is also absorbing the power of the heavenly lightning to refine his body? Seeing that the mountain black tortoise would not win in a short time, the honorable man said. The 3 of them raised their heads and looked at Qin, who was surrounded by strong lightning. Their indifferent eyes were filled with obvious emotions. He is only a martial king, but he can use the heavenly lightning to refine his body. Such a secret technique is unheard of. The honorable man in the middle had a strange smile on his face. I didn't expect to get such a good opportunity by following the mountain black tortoise. The honorable man on the left also laughed. At such a young age, he has such a high cultivation and body refinement level. He must be a genius cultivated by some top force in Qingzhou. The honorable man on the right said, "What are you afraid of? We are not from Qingzhou anyway. No matter how strong his background is, he can't do anything to us." The honorable man in the middle said. Although the 3 of them were dressed differently, each of them had a token on their waist. The picture on the token was of a golden ancient pagoda that suppressed the heads of countless beasts. Rumble. Under the bombardment of the lightning, Lin Fan's body, which had been split open, was gradually recovering. If one took a closer look, they would be able to see that, within Qin Yu's flesh and skin, the originally shattered flame dragon mark had already quietly condensed. Not only that, there were streaks of lightning flashing in the flame dragon aura. That was the sign that the lightning dragon tattoo was about to be born when the fire lightning dragon body had broken through to the 5th level. This beast can't hold on any longer. Don't stop attacking. At that moment, the battle in the barren mountains was gradually coming to an end. The mountain black tortoise, whose demonic power had dissipated, had countless cracks on the faint jade light shield on its back. That scene made the honorable man and the skinny martial ancestor extremely excited. Sect leader, be careful. But at that moment, a martial honorable man's eyes shrank and his face changed drastically. Poof! Almost at the same time, there were 2 sounds of flesh being pierced. A blood-stained black sword appeared in the honorable man's and the skinny martial ancestor's hearts. Chaotic shadow sword. Just as the martial honorables were in shock, there were streaks of hurricane-like sword cries and sword shadows swept across the sky. In an instant, the martial honorables did not even have time to react, and they were all killed by the sword shadows. It was the 3 honorable men who had launched a sneak attack. The 3 of them were actually martial ancestor realm, and they were all at the 5th level of martial ancestor realm. Those who are in the way have been eliminated. We can carve the imperial beast seal now. The 3 honorable men looked at the mountain black tortoise, whose demonic aura was still confined, and there was a flash of fire in their indifferent eyes. They each took out a golden ancient seal. As the blood merged into the ancient seal constantly vibrated. An intense soul fluctuation was immediately emitted. However, the spiritual fluctuation did not seem like an ordinary spiritual fluctuation. It emitted an evil fluctuation. Imperial Beast Seal? When the mountain black tortoise saw the 3 golden ancient seals, there was obvious fear in its eyes. As expected of a 9th-rank bloodline, the shape-shifting thunder tribulation has not ended and it can speak human language. When the 3 honorable men saw this, the fire in their eyes became even more intense. A 9th-rank bloodline meant that the mountain black tortoise could at least reach the Wu Xing realm in the future. When they thought of being able to control a Wu Xing realm spiritual beast, even with their temperament, they were quite excited. I am the sacred beast of the Black Tortoise clan in the infinite demon sea. You dare to use the imperial beast seal to enslave me. Do you know the consequences? The mountain black tortoise kept struggling, but the demonic power in its body was restrained and it could not escape. Of course we know that you are the sacred beast of the Black Tortoise clan. It seems that you still don't know that we have followed you all the way here. The 3 honorable men laughed and were quite happy. You are from the Imperial Beast sect? Suddenly, the mountain black tortoise saw the golden tokens at the waists of the 3 honorable men, and there was a murderous intent in its eyes. Chapter 109. It's too late to realize it now. The 3 of them could not hide the joy on their faces. To be honest, when they found out that the Xian Turtle clan's sacred beast had the custom of returning to its ancestral home for the heavenly tribulation, they were shocked. They did not believe it. After all, the mountain black tortoise had awakened the rare 9th-rank bloodline. But luckily it had followed them. Otherwise they would have really missed this great fortuitous encounter. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 3 of them immediately shot out their golden ancient seals and scattered them around the mountain black tortoise. Immediately after, the 3 ancient golden seals danced in the air and turned into a triangular golden seal. Just you wait. One day, the Xian Turtle clan will destroy the beast-controlling sect. The mountain black tortoise roared with killing intent. You want to destroy the beast-controlling sect? The Xian Turtle clan is not strong enough. That's right. The Xian Turtle clan has the support of the 10,000 demons sea. The beast-controlling sect also has the beast spirit Holy Land. The 3 of them did not care about the mountain black tortoise's roar. They formed hand seals and controlled the triangular golden seal. Buzz, buzz, buzz. After a slight vibration, the triangular golden seal flew into the mountain black tortoise's forehead and disappeared. When the 10,000 demons sea gives birth to the king of 10,000 demons, the beast-controlling sect and the beast spirit Holy Land will pay with blood. The mountain black tortoise was in great pain. It struggled and roared, but its eyes gradually became confused. At this moment, the triangular golden seal entered the mountain black tortoise's sea of soul and suppressed its soul. We did it! When they sensed that the mountain black tortoise was completely under their control, the 3 of them were overjoyed. King of 10,000 demons? Ha! The 10,000 demons sea has been fighting for thousands of years, and you still want to give birth to the king of 10,000 demons? Thinking of the mountain black tortoise's roar, the 3 of them sneered. The 10,000 demons sea was indeed very strong. They were even comparable to the 5 great saints. However, the 10,000 demons were scattered. No matter how strong they were just a group of scattered soldiers. Since the mountain black tortoise can already speak, the transformation lightning tribulation should be over soon. After subduing the mountain black tortoise, the 3 of them shook their heads and looked at Qin Yu, who was in the thunder tribulation. Even they didn't dare to take the mountain black tortoise's metamorphosis thunder tribulation head-on. Qin Yu had been struck by lightning for so long, yet he was still safe and sound. This made them even more eager to obtain Qin Yu's body-tempering secret technique. Rumble. Finally, after another 2 hours, the tribulation lightning, which was originally filled with heavenly might, gradually disappeared. Hoo! As the lightning tribulation disappeared, Qin Yu, who was hovering in mid-air, let out a heavy sigh. Within the aura there was actually a faint fluctuation of fire and lightning. At this time, Qin Yu's skin and flesh were lacerated, and his whole body was charred black. However, there were many mysterious fire and lightning dragon tattoos appearing in the flesh under his skin. After tempering his body with the power of heavenly lightning, Qin Yu's fire thunder dragon physique successfully advanced to the 6th revolution realm. At the 6th revolution, the strength of the physical body would reach 600,000 jin. His vitality would soar to the sky, and he would not fear fire or thunder. Whoosh! At this moment, a slight sound of wind breaking could be heard. Sneak attack? The smile on Qin Yu's face disappeared, and he raised his eyebrows. Dragon Chi appeared and he threw out a punch. Bang! The berserk fist energy exploded, and the true essence energy that was attacking him was scattered. However, a bloody hole appeared on Qin Yu's fist, and blood flowed out. Martial Ancestor Realm. After Qin Yu stopped the bleeding, he looked coldly at the 3 Martial Ancestor Realm cultivators who had launched a sneak attack. Although the 6th Revolution Fire Thunder Dragon physique was strong, it still couldn't block the attack of a Martial Ancestor Realm cultivator. Previously, he could block the heavenly lightning with his physical strength. That was because he had used a special secret technique to disperse the power of the heavenly lightning. If not, Qin Yu would not only be lacerated, but his soul would also be scattered. He blocked it. However, the 3 Martial Ancestor Realm cultivators from the Beast Control sect were extremely shocked. A Martial King Realm cultivator had blocked their attack with a single punch. Although they only wanted to destroy Qin Yu's Dantian and didn't use all their strength. Regardless, they were still Martial Ancestor Realm cultivators. Even if they had held back, their attack power shouldn't have been something that a Martial Ancestor Realm cultivator could block. What exactly was going on? Roar! At that moment, a deafening dragon roar sounded, and the green dragon battling the heavens circled around Qin Yu's body. He held the warping divine spear in his hand and charged forward. Dragon Chi? Martial Honorable Realm. Is he really from the Demon Clan? No, this should be a secret technique. Not only is his body tempering secret technique shocking, but he also has such a secret technique to increase his strength. This guy is indeed powerful. The 3 Martial Ancestor Realm cultivators immediately came to their senses, and the greed in their eyes grew stronger. In addition to their greed, they smiled cruelly when they saw Qin Yu charging forward. Even if Qin Yu increased his strength to Martial Ancestor Realm, they wouldn't be afraid, let alone Martial Honorable Realm cultivators. Qin Yu's actions were completely akin to bringing about his own destruction. Let me do it! The Martial Ancestor Realm cultivator on the left flew into the sky and formed a seal with his hand. A 3-tailed cat appeared behind him. This wasn't the power of a bloodline, but a demonic beast spirit. The way of controlling spirits. Qin Yu saw through it and without fear, he stabbed out with his spear. When he stabbed out, a golden light flashed behind Qin Yu and a red dragon shadow appeared, releasing a vast dragon aura. It was the red dragon vein in his body. Boom boom. The 3-tailed cat felt the dragon aura of the red dragon shadow, and its strength decreased. Qin Yu stabbed out with his spear, and the destructive killing intent exploded. The 3-tailed cat was immediately pierced through by the spear radiance. How is this possible? The Martial Ancestor Realm cultivator from the Beast Controlling sect was in disbelief. His netherworld spiritual cat was also a Martial Ancestor Realm cultivator, but it was pierced through by a Martial Honorable Realm cultivator's spear. Not good. The Martial Ancestor Realm cultivator's face changed drastically, and he immediately flew into the sky. Qin Yu, who had attacked again, gave him an extremely dangerous feeling. Since you want to die together, I'll fulfill your wish. Qin Yu laughed coldly as he stabbed out with his hell-suppressing divine spear. In the next instant, 9 dragon shadow spear radiance intertwined and formed a 9-dragon spear array, covering the 2 martial ancestors from the Beast Controlling sect. Boom boom boom. before the two martial ancestors from the beast-controlling sect could attack, an earth-shattering explosion suddenly resounded through the mountain range. It was Qin Yu's 9 dragons' spear array. At this moment it had suddenly exploded. A killing intent that could destroy the heavens and exterminate the earth wreaked havoc and swept through. What happened? The martial ancestor from the beast-controlling sect, who was about to attack, froze on the spot when he saw his 2 companions die under the destructive killing intent. 2 martial ancestor realm cultivators were killed by a single spear strike from a youth? Ha ha ha! The 6th-rank Fire Lightning Dragon body is indeed able to resist the backlash of the heaven-punishing array. Looking at the 2 people who had been killed by a single spear strike, Qin Yu swung his right hand and laughed heartily. Previously, he had merged the heaven-punishing array into the attack of the hell-suppressing divine spear through his right hand. Thus, the power of the 9-dragon heaven-fighting array was raised to such a terrifying level. If not for the fact that the Fire Lightning Dragon body had been refined to the 6th rank, he would have been severely injured by the backlash. Chapter 110. Trying to run? Shrink the ground into an inch. Qin Yu, who was in a good mood, noticed the martial ancestor from the Imperial Beast sect exploding with dragon chi. Immediately, Qin Yu's figure flashed continuously. It was as if he had teleported in the void and caught up with the martial ancestor at lightning speed. Boom! The destructive divine spear stabbed forward, and the heaven-punishing killing intent raged. Even though the martial ancestor from the Imperial Beast sect used several martial ancestor beast souls to block it, after being struck by Qin Yu's spear, his soul was still scattered and he was unable to escape the calamity. As the 3 martial ancestors from the Imperial Beast sect died, the triangular golden seal in the mountain black tortoise's sea of soul immediately collapsed. Then, the mountain black tortoise's body emitted a dazzling jade light. When the jade light dissipated, a simple and honest-looking man in a white tortoise shell appeared. The manifestation lightning tribulation was absorbed by Qin Yu, and the mountain black tortoise was naturally able to successfully manifest. Thank you for helping me. After taking the form of the back mountain Yuxian tortoise, it soared into the sky and bowed to Qin Yu with incomparable respect. Although his cultivation level was higher than Qin Yu's, this bow of his was filled with heartfelt admiration. Qin Yu could be said to have saved his life twice. Firstly, he blocked the manifestation lightning tribulation, and secondly, he killed the martial ancestor from the Imperial Beast sect. If not, even if he survived the manifestation lightning tribulation, he would have become the beast puppet of the Imperial Beast sect. It is not easy to cultivate to the manifestation realm. Don't fall into the hands of other martial artists in the future. Qin Yu takes a look at the mountain black tortoise and accepts the salute in an imposing manner. With that, Qin Yu took the Sumer rings of the 3 martial ancestors from the Imperial Beast sect and prepared to leave. Benefactor, this is the Black Tortoise token of the Black Tortoise tribe. If you go to the 10,000 Demon Sea in the future, I will repay you for saving my life today. Seeing this, the mountain black tortoise immediately took out a Black Tortoise token and handed it to Qin Yu. 10,000 Demon Sea? Where is that? Qin Yu looked at the token in his hand, but his attention was on the 2 words, 10,000 Demon Sea. The innumerable Demon Sea is located in the north of the continent. Almost all of the powerful demon clans on the continent live there. The mountain black tortoise said. All the demons? Are there any dragons? Qin Yu's eyes lit up. Dragon race? No. In the innumerable Demon Sea, only the Ice Dragon clan has the bloodline of the Dragon clan, the mountain black tortoise said in surprise. Qin Yu was a little disappointed. He waved his hand and flew away. After he refined the heavenly dragon scale, the bloodlines of ordinary dragon clan descendants were already useless to him. Only the blood of a true dragon could continue to be refined by him. The mountain Xian tortoise once again bowed solemnly towards Qin Yu's back, and then quickly left as well. This time, the beast-controlling sect actually dared to make a move on him. This grudge must be avenged when he returned to the innumerable demon sea. A few days later, Qin Yu returned to the Zhen Wu dynasty and went straight to the Qin family. Although their trip to the Yun family fort this time was fruitful, they had also provoked many enemies. The Zhu family fort and the unseen pavilion were both much more powerful than the Zhen Wu royal family. The Yun family fort was keeping the Zhu family fort in check. In the short term, they would not do anything to the Qin family. However, the unseen pavilion was an assassin organization in the underworld. This time, a peak martial grandmaster had died. They would not let the matter rest. Therefore, after returning, Qin Yu had been staying in the Qin family to cultivate. If the unseen pavilion dared to come, Qin Yu would not mind killing a few more martial grandmasters. However, during the time that Qin Yu returned, the unseen pavilion did not appear. Half a month later, in the Qin family's house, Qin Yu sat cross-legged and formed the ancient combat dragon arts cultivation hand seal with both hands. The red dragon vein and the 10 sub-dragon veins allowed Qin Yu's cultivation speed to reach an astonishing level. The dense spiritual qi of heaven and earth surrounded Qin Yu's body and was absorbed through his pores. After this period of cultivation, Qin Yu's cultivation had reached a level that was enough to break through to the martial emperor realm. However, Qin Yu had been suppressing his cultivation level and refining the combat dragon's vital origin. He was breaking through his own limits. Boom! Finally, when the combat dragon's vital origin could no longer be suppressed, Qin Yu naturally broke through to the martial emperor realm. A terrifying aura that was 10 times more powerful than a martial king's was emitted from Qin Yu's body. No one in the younger generation of the Zhen Wu royal family could compare to a 16-year-old martial emperor. However, in Qingzhou or the 5 great sacred grounds, he was not considered outstanding. Of course, it had been less than a year since Qin Yu had awakened. In a year, he had gone from having no cultivation to a martial emperor realm. In this way, he was considered a rare genius even in the mainland. After breaking through to the martial emperor realm, Qin Yu did not slack off on his cultivation and continued to cultivate bitterly. Until the Zhen Wu royal family sent people over. The 100 countries battlefield had arrived. Qin Yu told his second uncle to teleport away immediately if there was any danger. He then went to the Imperial Sacred Institute. This time, only 5 people from the Zhen Wu royal family were going to participate in the 100 countries battlefield. Qin Yu, Yun Guxuan, Wu Qinglong, Bai Qingyue and Yun Shi. Among the 5, Qin Yu and Yun Guxuan's cultivation had broken through to the martial emperor realm. However, Qin Yu's aura was heavy and unfathomable. Yun Guxuan's aura was slightly weak. It was obvious that he had not accumulated enough to break through to the martial emperor realm. Wu Qinglong, the 3rd prince of the Zhen Wu royal family, was at LV9 martial king realm. Among the princes of the Zhen Wu royal family, Wu Qinglong's talent was second only to Wu Xingqian. Now that Wu Xingqian had been killed, Wu Qinglong was the most likely to become the crown prince. Bai Qingyue's cultivation had reached the peak of LV8 martial king realm. The Zhen Wu royal family had greatly compensated Bai Qingyue for being kidnapped by the Shui clan. This allowed Bai Qingyue's cultivation to break through a few levels. Yun Shi's cultivation was the weakest. He was only at LV3 martial king realm. This time, he was probably just going to broaden his horizons. This time, Wu Chunyang would personally lead the team to participate in the selection of the 100 countries battlefield. The 100 countries battlefield was located in the center of the Qing province and was under the jurisdiction of the province. Therefore, they had to set off in advance. On the back of the flying spiritual beast, Wu Chunyang explained the situation of the 100 countries battlefield to Qin Yu and the other 4. The 100 countries battlefield was opened by the lord of the Qing province, the water fairy sacred ground, to select the geniuses of the 100 countries. This was because the 100 countries battlefield itself was a large relic of a secret realm. Therefore, every time the 100 countries battlefield opened, many geniuses would lose their lives fighting for treasures. This was also the goal of the Water Fairy Sacred Ground. Only the most powerful geniuses who fought their way out of the 100 countries battlefield could enter the sacred ground to cultivate. In the 100 countries battlefield, other geniuses were not the only threat. The restrictions in the relic were also a threat. Of course, Wu Chunyang said this to Gu Yunxian, Wu Qinglong, and the other three. Although the incident at the Yun family fort did not spread from the Yun family fort and the Zhu family fort, Wu Chunyang also did not know that Qin Yu's true battle strength was enough to kill a martial ancestor. However, even though this was the case, Wu Chunyang was still extremely confident in Qin Yu. This time, the 100 countries battlefield should be as simple as playing house to Qin Yu. Thus, Wu Chunyang's words implied that he hoped that Qin Yu would be able to help Wu Qinglong. 2 days later, Qin Yu and the other 5 arrived at the center of the Qin province, where the province lord resided. Along the way, they could see numerous aerial spirit beasts converging toward them from all directions. Of course, those super dynasties had teleportation formations that allowed them to travel directly. Chapter 111. Hey Wu Chunyang, your Jinwu dynasty didn't even get 10 spots this time. As Qin Yu and the others got off the flying spiritual beast and walked toward the state capital, they heard a mocking voice. Qin Yu and them turned around to look. They saw a group of people swaggering over. Although the man in the lead looked to be in his 40s, his eyes were full of vicissitude. The powerful aura that he exuded had reached LV8 Martial Ancestor Realm. Behind the 8th layer Martial Ancestor Realm man were 10 geniuses with prideful expressions, all of whom were martial dominators. Each dynasty only had 10 spots to participate in the 100 countries battlefield. The cultivation of these 10 people had all reached the martial royal realm. It was obvious that the dynasty that the man in the martial ancestor realm belonged to was much more powerful than the Jinwu dynasty. Zhao Qihua. Wu Chunyang's face darkened when he saw the man. Wu Qinglong's eyes turned cold and killing intent flashed in them. Zhao Qihua was one of the retired emperors of the Xinyang dynasty. That was because Wu Chunyang had a grudge against Zhao Qihua. Therefore, the people of the Xinyang dynasty would target the Jinwu dynasty in every 100 countries battlefield. They would target and kill the geniuses after they entered the 100 countries battlefield. The Xinyang dynasty was one of the stronger dynasties in Qingzhou. The geniuses that they sent were much more powerful than the Jinwu dynasty. The first prince of the Jinwu dynasty had died at the hands of the Xinyang dynasty. If not for the fact that there were 3 dynasties between the Xinyang and Jinwu dynasties, the Xinyang dynasty would have attacked the Jinwu dynasty. The Xinyang dynasty would have attacked the Jinwu dynasty a long time ago. Not only are there 5 of them, but there are also 3 who haven't even reached the martial emperor realm. Wu Chunyang, aren't you sending them to their deaths? Zhao Qihua swaggered over, sized up Qin Yu and the other 4 with a glance, and said mockingly, "We don't know who will be the ones sending themselves to their deaths." Wu Chunyang sneered. This time around, with Qin Yu present, he was extremely confident. "Is that so? I'm looking forward to it." Zhao Qihua sneered and looked down on Qin Yu and the others. "Let's go." Wu Chunyang coldly humphed. He did not bother with superfluous words and left with Qin Yu and them. "Listen up. Other than the 2 disciples from the Yun family fort, don't let the other 3 from the Zhen Wu dynasty leave the 100 countries battlefield alive." Seeing Wu Chunyang leave with his men, Zhao Qihua smiled contemptuously and ordered in a low voice, "Don't worry, taking care of those 3 pieces of trash is a piece of cake." The 10 sky prides of the true Sun dynasty smiled cruelly. If not for the grudges between the retired emperors, the Zhenwu dynasty's people would not even be qualified to be their prey. Following behind Wu Chunyang, Qin Yu and the others arrived at the huge square where the geniuses of the Qing province were gathered. Just by looking at these geniuses, one could tell how powerful each dynasty was. The 13 castles of Qingzhou and the 100 great empires are getting stronger and stronger. Yun Guxuan sized up the surrounding imperial dynasty's geniuses with a serious look in his eyes. Aside from the bottom-ranked dynasties like the Zhenwu dynasty, there were no other dynasties. The mid-tier dynasty's geniuses were comparable to the 13 castles of Qingzhou. As for the super dynasties, they were far above the 13 castles of Qingzhou. The reason for such a situation was naturally because the sacred land test was only open to the dynasties. As a result, the geniuses of the 13 castles of Qingzhou flowed into the martial Dao dynasties. As time passed, the gap between the two naturally widened. If this continued, the 13 castles of Qingzhou would gradually be nibbled away by the various dynasties. "Look, it's the 5 sons of Qingzhou." Suddenly, an exclamation caused the gazes of everyone in the square to look over. 5 figures with extraordinary auras strode in from the main gate of the governor's mansion. The 5 of them did not even look at the geniuses in the square. They were extremely arrogant. The Qingzhou governor's mansion would also send out geniuses to participate in the 100 countries battlefield. They were known as the Sons of Qingzhou. These people were the geniuses that the various factions recommended to the governor. If they passed the governor's test, they could directly enter the sacred land to cultivate. If they were eliminated, they could only enter the sacred land through the selection of the 100 countries battlefield. However, even if they were eliminated, the cultivation of the sons of Qingzhou was far superior to that of the geniuses of the 100 great dynasties. "This year's sons of Qingzhou are all half-step to martial honorables," shocked voices sounded. Even Wu Chunyang and the other martial grandmasters of the dynasties were shocked. If even half-step to martial honorables were eliminated, wouldn't the geniuses who were sent to the sacred land be true martial honorables? If that was the case, it would be too terrifying. Wu Chunyang originally thought that no one in the entire Qingzhou could compare to Qin Yu's talent. However, it seemed that his knowledge was still too limited. Qin Yu did not look at the 5 of them. His mind was filled with thoughts of the ghost demon cave in the 100 countries battlefield. He wondered if the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon was in the ghost demon cave. Dong! As the sound of a bell rang, the square, which was originally filled with whispers, immediately quietened down. A figure then appeared from the governor's mansion. It was a young man in a green robe. However, the aura that he exuded was extremely shocking. Force of heaven and earth, level 8. Qin Yu looked at the governor of Qingzhou and raised his eyebrows. This person's comprehension of the force of heaven and earth was the highest among all the martial grandmasters that he had met so far. In the future, there was a high possibility that he could comprehend the force of heaven and earth and break through to the Wuxing realm. It seemed that the Narcissus Sacred Land's foundation was quite strong. Apart from those who are entering the 100 countries battlefield, everyone else is to leave. The governor of Qingzhou looked at the chaotic square and said calmly. Immediately, everyone, be it the emperor of the imperial dynasty or the followers who accompanied them, left the square one after another. The square, which was originally filled with people, became much emptier. Only 1,000 geniuses stood there quietly. All of you are the most outstanding geniuses of your respective dynasties. Therefore, I congratulate all of you in advance for successfully entering the sacred land to cultivate. In the future, you will become a powerhouse of the sacred land. The governor of Qingzhou's calm voice stimulated the 1,000 geniuses in the square and made their blood boil. Entering the sacred land to cultivate could be said to be the dream of these geniuses. Now that they had received the governor's approval, they were naturally very excited. However, the Narcissus Sacred Land is one of the 5 overlords of the mainland. It has been passed down for tens of thousands of years and has countless powerhouses. Ordinary geniuses are not qualified to enter at all. Therefore, this 100 countries battlefield is the only chance for all of you to display your talent. I hope that all of you will not be afraid of the danger and give it your all. As the governor of Qingzhou spoke, he waved his right hand and pieces of assessment tokens landed in front of everyone. Once you enter the 100 countries battlefield, you will be able to see the conditions of passing the 100 countries battlefield. Lastly, I wish all of you good luck. Just as the governor of Qingzhou finished speaking, the martial grandmasters all landed around the square. The martial grandmasters changed their hand seals continuously, and a vast amount of true origin surged into the array patterns beneath their feet. Immediately, a large array pattern array that covered the entire square covered all the geniuses in the square. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. As beams of white light shot into the sky, all the geniuses in the square were instantly transported away. Chapter 112. After a brief moment of darkness, Qin Yu came back to his senses. Without opening his eyes, he released his soul power. After confirming that there was no danger around, Qin Yu opened his eyes and looked around. It was a huge wasteland. Bones could be seen everywhere in the wasteland, as well as countless rusted armors and weapons. The air of the wasteland was filled with a tragic killing intent. He was the only one around the wasteland. The others must have been teleported away. Ancient battlefield. Qin Yu looked around and didn't sense any spatial fluctuations. In other words, the 100 countries battlefield should be somewhere in the continent, and it wasn't a secret realm. Dragon Soul, see if there are any 9 abyss hell dragons in this ancient battlefield. Since it wasn't a secret realm, then the Dragon Soul's sensing secret technique wouldn't be suppressed. Immediately, the Dragon Soul controlled the 10,000 poison inky flood dragon and flew into the sky from the Dragon God Ancient Seal. In the next moment, a strange fluctuation spread out in all directions with the Dragon Soul as the center. After a full 15 minutes, the Dragon Soul flew down. Keep going west, there's a strange fluctuation, the Dragon Soul said. Strange fluctuation? I didn't sense the 9 abyss hell dragons' dragon aura? Qin Yu was startled and took out the 2 ancient map. The ghost demon den was west of the map. How should I put it? It feels like dragon aura, but it doesn't feel like it. It's very strange. The Dragon Soul wasn't very sure this time. Then let's go take a look. After experiencing the Sky Dragon Soul in the Blood Mist Devil Stream and the Sovereign Seal, Qin Yu didn't underestimate this continent as much as before. Since it was strange, he would go see it with his own eyes. When flying west of the battlefield, Qin Yu took out the Prefecture Lord's token. Although the main reason he participated in the 100 Countries tournament was because of the 9 Abyss Hell Dragon. But Qin Yu also wanted to go to the Narcissus Sacred Land. His mother was still imprisoned in the Narcissus Sacred Land. Pouring his true yuan into it, Qin Yu quickly learned the conditions to pass the 100 Countries battlefield. In the 100 Countries battlefield, the Narcissus Sacred Land had placed more than 30 ancient seals. The person who found the ancient seal would be qualified to pass through the 100 Countries battlefield and enter the Holy Land to cultivate. However, no one knew what the ancient seal looked like or where it was kept. Only by obtaining the 10 tokens would he be able to find out where the ancient seals were and what they looked like. More than 1,000 people, but only 30 spots. Qin Yu put away the token. It was easy to imagine that the 100 Countries battlefield would be a bloodbath. However, Qin Yu did not intend to look for the ancient seal. The examination of the 100 Countries battlefield would only end after 2 months. This amount of time was more than enough for Qin Yu. When the time was almost up, he would find another genius with an ancient seal and snatch it away. His main goal now was to find the 9 Hells Hell Dragon. Only by finding the 9 Abyss Hell Dragon would Qin Yu have absolute power when he went to the Narcissus Sacred Land. Otherwise, even if he went to the Narcissus Holy Land, Qin Yu would not be able to save his mother. While flying in the void, Qin Yu suddenly sensed something and shifted his body to the side. Almost at the same time, a spiritual arrow shot out like a shadow, and it was silent. Qin Yu lowered his head to look. He saw that on the ground below, in an ancient forest, 3 figures had appeared. True Sun Dynasty. With a glance, Qin Yu recognized them. They were the sky prides of True Sun Dynasty that he had seen before. He actually dodged it. The sky pride with the longbow was surprised. He's just lucky. He dares to swagger in the air. I'm surprised that he's still alive. The other 2 did not pay much attention to him. He did not even know the basic rules of survival in the 100 countries battlefield. He was obviously a rookie. Swoosh. However, while the 3 of them were talking, Qin Yu directly dove down. His target was them. You're courting death. Seeing this, the 3 of them had mocking looks on their faces. The longbow-wielding Heaven's Chosen once again pulled his longbow to the maximum. 3 spiritual arrows shot out like chasing stars and the moon. This time, the spiritual inscriptions on the 3 arrows glowed faintly and locked onto Qin Yu. Break! Qin Yu casually threw out a punch and the destructive fist force exploded. The 3 spiritual arrows immediately broke into pieces and turned into powder. What? The sky pride with the longbow cried out in shock. The other 2 were also shocked. Those were Earth-rank spiritual arrows. Although only the tip of the arrow had Earth-rank spiritual inscriptions. However, it shouldn't have been shattered by a martial emperor so easily, right? Boom. Boom. While the 3 of them were still in shock, Qin Yu had already flown over. He threw out 3 consecutive punches and 3 destructive fist radiances flashed through the void. The 3 of them only saw the 3 fist radiances flash by like meteors and their heads exploded. They were killed instantly. After putting away their tokens, Qin Yu glanced at the ancient forest and flew into the sky again. After Qin Yu left, a figure drenched in cold sweat came out of the ancient forest. He killed 3 martial emperors in one move? Where did this guy come from? That person was not from the True Sun Dynasty. He originally wanted to see if there was a chance to launch a sneak attack, but now he was extremely glad that he did not attack. Otherwise, he would have ended up like the 3 headless corpses. 5 days later, Qin Yu flew across half of the 100 countries battlefield and finally arrived at the Ghost Demon Cave. In the past 5 days, more than 10 Sky Prides had tried to launch a sneak attack on him but were killed instead. Because of this, Qin Yu also found the whereabouts of an ancient seal. However, Qin Yu did not look for the ancient seal. Instead, he went all the way to the Ghost Demon Cave. Woo! The entrance to the Ghost Demon Cave was a huge, deep pit. Bursts of ghostly weeping sounds that made one's hair stand on end came from the deep pit. What a strong ghost chi! Qin Yu stood at the edge of the deep pit and looked down. The deep pit was surrounded by pitch-black ghost chi, and he could not see the end of it. No wonder it feels a little strange. It turns out that there are so many dead souls and malicious spirits gathered here. The dragon soul looked and said, "The ghost chi is too strong," so it covered the fluctuations of the dragon chi. Strange, there is ghost chi mixed in with this dragon chi. Qin Yu looked and was slightly puzzled. The 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's natal super ability is the 9 Serenities Purgatory. It is considered a super ability of the Ghost Tao. The Dragon Soul said, "It should be normal for the Dragon Chi to contain Ghost Chi." No, feel it carefully. Is the Ghost Chi of this Dragon Chi stronger than the Dragon Chi? Qin Yu shook his head slightly. It is true. After the Dragon Soul sensed it carefully, a look of surprise appeared in its eyes. It was as if the ghostly aura was devouring the dragon aura. However, the Dragon Chi was one of the most powerful forces in the world. The Ghost Chi should not be able to devour the Dragon Chi, right? Qin Yu took a step forward and jumped directly into the deep pit. The moment he entered the pit, the creepy ghost cry became even more intense. In the thick ghost cry, blurry ghosts were faintly discernible. However, Qin Yu's blood qi was too strong, and those ghosts did not dare to pounce on him. Chapter 113. Soon, Qin Yu reached the bottom of the pit. 10 black stone passages appeared around him. Qin Yu looked around and entered the black stone passage with the densest dragon qi. Not long after entering the black stone passage, a fork appeared in front of him. The deeper he went, the more forks there were. In the end, the forks intersected with each other like a maze. In every passage there was the sound of ghosts crying. It echoed continuously, making it difficult to tell the direction. Qin Yu did not stop and went deeper into the passage with the densest dragon qi. Whoosh! Suddenly, there was a sharp sound of something breaking through the air. Qin Yu flipped his right hand and the hell-suppressing divine spear appeared. The spear pierced through the air and there was a cracking sound. Qin Yu throws out a luminous night stone. A creature that looks like a mole and is entirely pitch black appears. A ghost spirit beast? Qin Yu's eyes flashed and the dragon soul was surprised. The ghost spirit beast was a kind of ghost spirit beast that liked to devour human souls. But the ghost spirit beast was not a creature that was born naturally. It was refined by a malicious spirit. In other words, there was someone who cultivated the ghost spirit beast here. Bang! The true essence exploded and the ghost spirit beast turned into a mist of ghost qi and dissipated in the void. Qin Yu held the long spear and went deeper into the demon cave. The deeper he went, the more ghost spirit beasts Qin Yu encountered. His combat strength also became stronger. He started off as a martial king and martial emperor and gradually approached the level of a martial honorable. As Qin Yu killed the ghost spirit beasts, a scarlet eye lit up in the depths of the ghost demon cave. It was a skinny old man wearing an ancient Taoist robe. A martial emperor? After the old man sensed it, a look of surprise appeared in his scarlet eyes. He was surprised that a martial emperor could kill so many ghost spirit beasts consecutively. It seems that it's time for the 100 countries battlefield to open again. Wisps of ghost qi gathered from the surroundings and turned into a cloud of black mist. A hoarse voice sounded. It's been a long time since I've eaten a fresh soul. This time, I can have a good meal. The scarlet-red old man grinned when he heard this, causing his skeletal face to become even more frightening. Don't be too ostentatious. If the Holy Land discovers our existence, then all our previous efforts will be wasted. The cloud of black mist stirred for a moment before condensing into a black mist figure. Don't worry. Since we're already at such an important juncture, I'll naturally be careful. The scarlet old man stood up and moved his body. A series of cracking sounds came from all over his body. Whoosh! A gust of black wind blew by and the scarlet old man disappeared. At this time, Qin Yu, who was killing several ghost spirit beasts in the Black Stone Passage, had a slight change in expression. Kaki. Almost at the same time, a heart-palpitating ghostly wail appeared in front of the Black Stone Passage. The surging ghost fog immediately surged forth. In an instant, it had enveloped Qin Yu. Has he finally appeared? With a thought, Qin Yu's body emitted a strong fire-lightning aura. With a sizzling sound, the black mist was incinerated before it could even get close to Qin Yu. Your physical body's qi and blood are actually so shocking. Not bad, it suits the patriarch's taste. A sinister laugh accompanied by the ear-piercing ghostly wails appeared. Playing tricks, Qin Yu did not waste any time and stabbed his spear into the black mist at lightning speed. A huge collision force appeared. Dang! 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 Qin Yu retreated dozens of steps. A row of deep footprints appeared on the black stone floor where his feet landed. However, Qin Yu's attack also caused the scarlet-red old man to reveal his true body. Martial Ancestor Realm? Qin Yu moved his slightly numb right hand and looked at the scarlet-red old man in surprise. This ghost cultivator's cultivation was actually able to hide from his perception. Such a powerful physical body, The patriarch likes it more and more. It's just right to use it as a new host. Feeling the astonishing strength of Qin Yu's physical body, the scarlet-red old man's sinister smile became even more pronounced. This guy, he's not trying to take over your body, is he? Within the divine dragon ancient seal, the dragon's soul looked at the scarlet-red old man with amusement. Take over my body? A ghost cultivator of the soul Tao? Qin Yu looked at the scarlet-red old man indifferently. A ghost cultivator of the soul Tao used the soul to cultivate the ghost Tao. Qin Yu had encountered this kind of cultivator before. Some of the top experts of the ghost Tao even made Qin Yu and other sovereigns have to go all out. However, this ghost cultivator of the soul Tao was nothing to be afraid of. Kid, obediently hand over your body to the patriarch. The scarlet-red old man laughed strangely and pounced forward with the rolling black mist. Just as he was about to reach Qin Yu, a black and red light appeared from the scarlet-red old man's body. In a flash, the black and red light directly entered Qin Yu's glabella. However, strangely, Qin Yu did not move in the face of the scarlet-red old man's attack. What a powerful spirit! Within Qin Yu's soul sea, the scarlet-red light evolved into the scarlet-red old man's appearance, and his strange laughter became even louder. However, in the next moment, as if someone had grabbed his neck, his strange laughter came to an abrupt end. At this moment, within Qin Yu's soul sea, an awe-inspiring giant dragon and a human figure surrounded by a scarlet-red dragon aura quietly appeared in front of him. A mere martial ancestor dares to take over our souls. You must be tired of living. Looking at the scarlet-red old man who was standing there in a daze, the dragon's soul grinned. Dragon soul? At this moment, the scarlet-red old man's soul body seemed to have fallen into an ice cave, and his entire body was cold. Without any hesitation, the scarlet-red old man immediately wanted to escape. However, at this moment, Qin Yu's soul sea immediately turned into a vast starry sky. Since you're already here, why are you in such a hurry to leave? I still have something to ask you. Qin Yu's right hand turned into a 1,000-foot-long dragon claw and grabbed at the scarlet-red old man. Who are you? Why is there a dragon soul in your soul sea? The scarlet-red old man was scared out of his wits and fled in panic. Unfortunately, in Qin Yu's soul sea, there was nowhere for him to run. Oh, you actually recognize the dragon soul. You're quite knowledgeable. Qin Yu laughed. The divine dragon ancient seal shook, and the scarlet-red old man was immediately imprisoned. With a move of his right hand, Qin Yu grabbed the scarlet-red old man. Don't kill me, I can tell you a big secret, a big secret. Feeling the terrifying power emitted by the dragon claw, the scarlet-red old man repeatedly begged for mercy. It's safer for me to see it myself. Qin Yu's 5 fingers tightened, and the scarlet-red old man's soul was directly crushed. Qin Yu's soul force wrapped around the old man's soul source and directly used the soul refining method. Not long after, Qin Yu obtained the scarlet-red old man's memories. Damn it! But after looking through the memories, Qin Yu's face changed, and he immediately rushed into the depths of the ghost demon cave. What's wrong? The dragon's soul was puzzled. Qin Yu didn't waste any time and directly threw the scarlet-red old man's memories to the dragon's soul. It can't be, right? After seeing the memories, the dragon's soul became anxious. In a few breaths of time, Qin Yu rushed into the depths of the ghost demon cave. Roar! Qin Yu, who was about to rush in, a cold light flashed in his eyes, and an earth-shattering dragon roar erupted. Bang! A black fog silhouette that was silently approaching Qin Yu was immediately shattered by Azure Dragon battling the heavens. Chapter 114. Whoosh! But then, the black fog figure immediately reappeared. I'm in a bad mood now. I don't want to die. Get lost. Qin Yu's eyes were even colder. After reading the memories of the Scarlet Red Elder, Qin Yu also knew the origin of the Ghost Demon Cave. The The scarlet-red elder was originally a soul cultivator. The black fog figure was an elder of the Narcissus sacred ground. The two of them had a great battle in the 100 Countries battlefield. Later, when they were seriously injured and on the verge of death, they both fell into the ghost demon cave. In order to survive, the two of them absorbed ghost chi into their bodies. In the end, the scarlet-red elder became a soul cultivator. The elder of the Narcissus sacred ground could only become a ghost. Since then, the two of them could only stop fighting and hide here to cultivate. After all, those who cultivated the ghost Tao were not recognized by the 5 great sacred ground. By chance, they found a dragon at the end of the ghost demon cave. That dragon was the reason Qin Yu came to the 100 Countries battlefield this time, the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon. For some reason, the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon was not only seriously injured, but was also invaded by ghost chi and could not escape. Although he was seriously injured, the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's innate dragon power made it impossible for them to get close. The two of them had no choice but to bury the hatchet and work together to set up the Ghost Corpse Array. The Ghost Corpse Array could use ghost chi to transform living beings into ghost corpses. Just like that, after nearly 10 years of the Ghost Corpse Array's invasion, the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon had been transformed by 90%. This was also the reason why Qin Yu was so anxious. If the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon completely transformed into a ghost corpse, he would be a living being of the Ghost Tao. At that time, the dragon blood would become ghost blood and would be useless to Qin Yu. Who are you? Where is the Shui-Tu old devil? The black fog figure's voice was filled with killing intent and surprise. Since you want to die, I'll send you to see him. Qin Yu attacked again, and the heaven's killing array merged into the hell-suppressing divine spear. Not good. The black fog figure that was about to attack felt a sense of danger and immediately dissipated into ghost chi. Qin Yu stopped attacking and was too lazy to chase after them. He flew into the depths of the tunnel. Soon, Qin Yu reached the end of the ghost demon cave. In front of him was an underground palace that was several thousand feet wide. However, the underground palace had long since collapsed. In the underground palace, there were ancient altars engraved with pitch-black runes. Cold, pale purple ghost chi surrounded the altars. Within those altars, there was a ferocious, pitch-black dragon that was thousands of feet long. A vast dragon's might emanated from the pitch-black dragon. However, within that dragon might, there was a strong corpse ghost chi. 9 Hell's Hell Dragon. The dragon soul's eyes lit up. That black dragon was the 9 Abyss Hell Dragon. 100 Ghost Soul Locking Formation. Qin Yu's gaze landed on the 100 altars. The two old men didn't know, but Qin Yu could tell at a glance that there were 100 altars. No wonder the 9 Abyss Hell Dragon couldn't leave the ghost demon cave. It turned out that someone had sacrificed 100 ghosts to lock the dragon's soul in this underground palace. Who did this? Qin Yu's eyes flickered. The old man was a ghost cultivator of the Soul Tao, and the black fog figure was a ghost. The two of them would be sacrificed if they got close to the 100 ghosts' soul-locking formation, let alone set it up. Then who was the person who set up this 100 ghost soul-lock formation and locked the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon here? Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this moment, the black fog figure that had escaped discovered Qin Yu's intention and immediately chased after him. As soon as the corpse ghost grand array was activated, an incomparably dense and gloomy ghost energy rushed towards Qin Yu like a tidal wave. A black light appeared in Qin Yu's eyes. The ghost eye of destruction trembled slightly and mysterious ghostly runes appeared. Immediately, a shocking scene appeared. The ghostly energy rushing toward him was instantly absorbed by the ghost eye. Crack! A cracking sound rang out as the grand corpse ghost formation that had been engraved in the surroundings collapsed. How can this be? The black fog figure was revealed and exclaimed in shock. Swoosh! Qin Yu's eyes flashed, and a pitch-black light fell on the black fog figure and sealed it in the ghost eye. The ghost eye of destruction could break all techniques and seal all spirit. The black fog figure was a ghost, so it was perfectly restrained by the ghost eye of destruction. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the next moment, the ghost eye of destruction trembled even more, and all the ghostly energy in the entire ghost demon cave was sucked in. For a moment, the entire ghost demon cave was crying and countless ghosts dissipated into ghostly energy. As the pure ghostly energy was absorbed, the ghostly runes of the ghost eye of destruction became brighter. Roar. Just as the dragon's soul was wondering why Qin Yu was absorbing the ghostly energy, it suddenly heard a deafening roar. In the next moment, the entire ghost demon cave trembled non-stop. An extremely terrifying aura spread out from the underground palace, as if a giant beast had awakened. There is indeed an even more powerful ghost hidden here. Qin Yu was not surprised, and the speed at which he absorbed the ghostly energy increased. Rumble! Somewhere in the underground palace, a loud sound rang out, accompanied by a cloud of dust, and a white figure appeared. It was a skeleton man that was about 10 feet tall. The skeleton man was holding a huge bone knife, and there were faint black ghostly runes revolving around it. 2 green flames in the skeleton's eyes were like pupils, staring at Qin Yu. Ghost runes? Ghost King? The dragon's soul could not help but exclaim when it saw the skeleton man. One should know that even the weakest ghost king was at the martial god realm. But after exclaiming, the dragon's soul immediately saw through the skeleton man. The ghost king's ghostly energy was weak, and there were cracks all over its ghostly runes. It was obvious that something was wrong with it. Interesting. Qin Yu took a glance at the skeleton ghost king and smiled. What's interesting? The dragon's soul asked curiously. The 9 serenities Hell Dragon and the skeleton ghost king both have contract soul seals, Qin Yu said. Contract soul seals? That means. The dragon's soul was stunned. The 9 serenities Hell Dragon and the skeleton ghost king were once contract creatures? What was a contract creature? To put it bluntly, it was similar to a spiritual pet. However, the contract creature and the host were equals, not master and servant. Since the 2 of them appeared here, wouldn't their hosts be here too? The dragon's soul immediately sensed, but other than the 9 serenities Hell Dragon and the skeleton ghost king, it did not find anything else. Roar. At this moment, the skeleton ghost king roared, holding the huge bone knife, and slashed out fiercely. The bone knife was accompanied by ghostly energy, and it was like a giant mountain that was thousands of feet tall. It was enough to shatter the sky. Fortunately, it's only at the peak of the martial ancestor realm. The dragon's soul heaved a sigh of relief. Heaven punishment array. 9 dragons battle the heavens. Seeing this, Qin Yu did not retreat. He used the Azure Dragon battle the heavens and the heaven punishment array at the same time, and stabbed out fiercely. Clang! The bone knife and the spear collided in mid-air, and an extremely terrifying destructive shock wave exploded. Deng deng deng! The ghostly runes on the skeleton ghost king's body trembled, and its tall body was forced back dozens of steps. Bang! Qin Yu's body trembled, and he was sent flying, crashing deeply into the stone wall. This guy's toughness is comparable to a heaven-class spiritual weapon. True energy vibrated, and Qin Yu shattered the stone wall, and he stepped out. Chapter 115. It is comparable to Wu Xing's puppet. Qin Yu laughed as he looked at the skeleton ghost king, who had stabilized himself and was charging at him again. Although the skeleton ghost king's combat strength was only at the peak of the martial ancestor realm, it was comparable to a heaven-rank heavenly weapon. However, its defensive power, which was comparable to a heaven-grade spiritual artifact, was more than enough to withstand the attacks of an ordinary martial sage. One had to know that the skeleton ghost king itself was equivalent to an inanimate object. Only its ghost king soul was its weakness. This made the Skeleton Ghost King's combat strength even more frightening and troublesome. Whoosh! Qin Yu moved his left hand and the 7-star ancient pagoda shot up into the sky. Whoosh! The Skeleton Ghost King was intelligent and it immediately sensed the sealing power within the 7-star ancient pagoda. The attack that was originally aimed at Qin Yu suddenly changed direction. The huge bone blade swept up a whistling wind and slashed at the 7-star ancient pagoda. Clang! After taking a hit from the Skeleton Ghost King, the 7-star ancient pagoda only trembled a little before remaining in the void. The Skeleton Ghost King was only comparable to a heaven-rank spiritual weapon, but the 7-star ancient pagoda was a true heaven-rank spiritual weapon. No matter how powerful the Skeleton Ghost King was, it could not split the 7-star ancient pagoda in one blow. After receiving the attack, the sealing power of the 7-star ancient pagoda became even stronger. Whoosh! Qin Yu, who was surrounded by the Azure Dragon, held the warping divine spear in his hand and charged at the Skeleton Ghost King. The heaven-destroying killing intent merged with the spear radiance, and a terrifying destructive killing intent exploded and swept through everything. The timing and angle of Qin Yu's attack were very tricky. This time, the Skeleton Ghost King was sent flying. Roar! Although it was only slightly injured, the Skeleton Ghost King was enraged. Whoosh! The oily green flames in the skeleton's eyes turn into a terrifying fiery seal and attack Qin Yu, who has seized the opportunity to attack him, like lightning. Destroy! Qin Yu's eyes flashed and a ray of light shot out from his ghost eyes. After the two eye light seals collided in the void, they dissipated without a sound. 9 dragons heaven-slaying! Qin Yu took the opportunity to close in on the Skeleton Ghost King and thrust out the hell-suppressing divine spear once again. At the tip of the spear, 9 green killing intent spear dragons erupted. All of the ghostly patterns on the Skeleton Ghost King's body were severely damaged in an instant. Kacha kacha, a series of crisp explosions rang out incessantly. Under Qin Yu's attack, 1/5 of the ghostly patterns on the Skeleton Ghost King's body were destroyed. The impenetrable ghostly tattoo barrier began to show obvious flaws. Roar! This time, the Skeleton Ghost King was completely enraged. An incomparably frightening ghastly ghost chi erupted like a tornado, condensing into countless terrifying ghosts in the void, madly pouncing towards Qin Yu. Why struggle when you know it's futile? Qin Yu's smile widened. If the Skeleton Ghost King's injuries were not so serious, Qin Yu would not be able to do anything to it. But now, the Skeleton Ghost King was a beast trapped in his cage. It's over! Qin Yu did not dodge and thrust out the hell-suppressing divine spear once again. At the same time, the ghost eye of extermination trembled and ghostly patterns appeared. The ghostly ghost chi that pounced towards Qin Yu instantly turned into ghostly chi and was devoured by the ghost eye of extermination. In the blink of an eye, the Skeleton Ghost King's killing move was immediately broken. Kacha! This time, the hell-suppressing divine spear pierced the Skeleton Ghost King through the gaps in the ghostly patterns. Ghost Eye of Extermination! Qin Yu roared as the Ghost Eye of Extermination turned into a black light and entered the Skeleton Ghost King's body. Roar! Vaguely, the roar of a beast could be heard. But a moment later, the roar disappeared. It was the Skeleton Ghost King's soul that had been sealed by the Ghost Eye of Extermination. Seal. Looking at the Skeleton Ghost King that had lost its ability to resist, Qin Yu had a thought. A 7-colored waterfall appeared in the 7-star ancient pagoda and sealed the Skeleton Ghost King within. Success. The dragon's soul was overjoyed. With the Skeleton Ghost King, their chances of going to the Narcissus sacred ground would be much higher. It's just a temporary seal. It's still too early to completely subdue it. There was a soul contract seal in the Skeleton Ghost King's body. If Qin Yu wanted to subdue the Skeleton Ghost King, he would have to erase the soul contract seal and inscribe his own soul seal. But judging from the Skeleton Ghost King's cultivation, its host was at least at the martial god realm. With Qin Yu's current cultivation, it was impossible for him to erase the soul seal in a short period of time. Let's talk about this later. Now, let's break the 100 Ghost Soul Locking Array. The Dragon Soul's attention had already shifted to the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon. Qin Yu's gaze was also fixed on the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon. After approaching the altars, Qin Yu carefully sensed the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's condition. Although there was the 100 Ghost Soul Locking Array, Qin Yu could still sense it. The 9 Serenities Hell Dragon was already on the verge of death. Even if Qin Yu used a secret technique to sense the fluctuations of the Dragon Soul, he could only sense very slight fluctuations. Qin Yu immediately made his move without hesitation. Streaks of mysterious dragon seals, together with the light of the ghost eyes of destruction, broke the altars one by one. The majestic ghost chi that emerged from the altars was absorbed by the ghost eyes of destruction. The power of the ghost eyes of destruction also became stronger. Roar! When the 100 Ghost Soul Locking Array was completely broken, a vague dragon roar came from the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon. The dragon roar was filled with strong unwillingness, anger, and arrogance. Oh no! Dragon Soul! Sensing the emotions contained in the dragon roar, Qin Yu immediately shouted. The 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's dragon soul had just rushed out of the seal and wanted to self-destruct. With the pride of the dragon clan, it naturally wouldn't tolerate falling into the corpse ghost body, so it wanted to kill itself. The dragon soul's reaction was even faster than Qin Yu's. Almost as soon as Qin Yu shouted, the dragon soul had already rushed into the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's body and directly suppressed the dragon soul. Fortunately, Qin Yu heaved a sigh of relief. If the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's dragon soul dissipated, then even if Qin Yu had many secret techniques, he wouldn't be able to purify the corpse ghost chi in the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's body. And if the corpse ghost chi didn't dissipate, the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's dragon blood would be greatly reduced to Qin Yu. After all, the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's dragon blood was already half corpse blood. It's a pity that the dragon soul's origin dragon chi has been completely exhausted. The dragon soul was extremely regretful. When the origin dragon chi was exhausted, the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's dragon soul was no longer of any use. In order to prevent the last trace of soul power from dissipating, the dragon soul still used its own origin dragon chi to maintain the soul power of the dragon soul. Dragon soul, how long can you maintain this trace of soul power of the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon? Leaping onto the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's body, Qin Yu carefully sensed and frowned slightly. The 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's situation was much more serious than he thought. At most half a year, the dragon soul said. The 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's dragon soul had been suppressed by the 100 Ghost Soul Lock formation for decades. Under normal circumstances, it should have dissipated long ago. It was only because of the last trace of obsession in the soul power that it had survived until now. Now, even if the dragon soul used its own origin dragon chi to maintain it, it could only extend its life for half a year. Chapter 116. Half a year. Qin Yu pondered. Half a year should be enough. Thinking of this, Qin Yu immediately used the ghost eyes of extermination to absorb the ghost chi in the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's body. Not long after, the ghost chi was completely absorbed. However, the ghost eyes of extermination could not purify the corpse chi of the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon. This was the reason why Qin Yu felt troubled. Only by completely expelling the corpse chi could the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's dragon blood be purified. However, the corpse chi in the 9 Serenities Hell Dragon's body was too strong. The spiritual materials needed to refine the spirit pill to expel the corpse chi were quite rare. Although Qin Yu had killed a few martial grandmasters and many martial honorables, he still could not gather all the spiritual materials. He could only think of a way after leaving the 100 Countries battlefield. Immediately, Qin Yu summoned the ancient dragon seal, and the dragon soul entered the divine seal with the 9 serenities hell dragon. After looking at the altar in the underground palace, Qin Yu's gaze fell on the place where the skeleton ghost king had rushed out. He walked over and found that there was a world under the cave. Qin Yu jumped down and appeared in a huge stalactite cave. In the center of the cave there were 2 figures in extraordinary clothes. However, those 2 figures had already turned into pure white bones. Qin Yu squatted down and looked carefully. Of the 2 skeletons, one was surrounded by a cold ghost qi, and the other was filled with a shocking cold qi. Although the 2 were still in human form, they would immediately turn into powder with a light touch. Martial Emperor Realm. Qin Yu was able to tell. These 2 people were martial emperors when they were alive. Obviously, they should be the owners of the soul seals in the 9 serenities Hell Dragon and the Skeleton Ghost King. It seemed that they had perished together. Something's not right. However, after looking around the stalactite cave, Qin Yu immediately became alert and spread out his soul power. The 2 dead martial emperors did not leave a single treasure in the stalactite cave. It was as if they had been plundered clean. After sensing for a while, Qin Yu did not find anything unusual, but he felt more and more strange. After walking around the stalactite cave, Qin Yu's footsteps paused as he stood in front of an ancient pond. Qin Yu removed the stalactite that was pressing down on the ancient pond, and saw an ancient token. The token seemed to be made of bronze. Ancient spirit patterns were engraved on it, making it look extremely profound. Qin Yu merely glanced at the spirit pattern on the token, and he felt as if his soul was about to leave his body. "There's something strange about this badge," the dragon's soul exclaimed with some lingering fear. It didn't dare to look at the ancient bronze token. Did the 2 of them perish together for the sake of fighting over this title plate? Qin Yu observed carefully. Apart from the fact that the bronze token could absorb souls, there was nothing special about it. However, this made Qin Yu even more concerned. Even with his experience as an Emperor Realm Master, he could not see anything unusual about this ancient bronze token, which meant that this token was extraordinary. After looking at it for a while, Qin Yu absorbed the ancient bronze token into the ancient dragon seal and sealed it. After looking around, Qin Yu jumped out of the stalactite cave and left the ghost demon cave. Although there were some twists and turns in this trip to the ghost demon cave, the harvest was far beyond his expectations. After Qin Yu left the ghost demon cave, somewhere in the ghost demon cave, a light purple ghost fog appeared. The light purple ghost fog directly entered the end of the ghost demon cave. After discovering that the 9 serenities Hell Dragon and the Skeleton Ghost King had both disappeared, there was clearly a violent fluctuation coming from the ghost fog. Ancient, immortal, token. In the next moment, the ghost fog flashed and immediately flew into the stalactite cave. Looking at the bronze token that had disappeared, an incomparably violent ghost chi suddenly erupted from the ghost fog. The entire stalactite cave directly collapsed because of it. Qin Yu did not know that there was a ghost body hidden in the ghost demon cave that could hide from his perception. At this time, Qin Yu, who had left the ghost demon cave, came to the center of an ancient ruin. In the center of the ruin there was a huge spiritual spring. At this time, there was a skyrocketing spiritual chi erupting from the spiritual spring, forming a spiritual chi vortex. With the spiritual spring as the center, there was a white mist of spiritual chi surging in a radius of a few hundred feet, as if it was a paradise on earth. Spiritual chi tide. Qin Yu's eyes lit up, and he jumped into the center of the spiritual chi vortex. The spiritual chi was so dense that it caused a spiritual chi tide to erupt. It was enough to show that the spiritual chi in the spiritual spring was majestic and pure. Ancient Battle Dragon Incantation. After Qin Yu's hands formed a seal, all the spiritual chi in the spiritual spring madly rushed into his pores. Even the pure spiritual chi that had dispersed and surged between the ruins and heaven and earth was sucked over. Soon, Qin Yu was completely covered by the spiritual chi, and only his figure could be vaguely seen. Whoosh 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 whoosh. A quarter of an hour later, 5 figures could be seen flying over from the distant horizon. Someone beat us to it? The 5 people's cultivation was between LV7 and LV8 martial royal realm, and they were quite talented. When the leading martial royal genius saw the figure in the spiritual chi vortex, a cold light flashed in his eyes. Chi. Without wasting any time, he directly attacked. A cold sword light tore through the air and slashed out. Clang. However, when the sword light slashed into the spiritual chi vortex, there was a solid clang. Could it be a demonic beast? The 5 people were stunned. They did not feel the slightest fluctuation of spiritual chi in the attack just now. In other words, the sword light just now should have been blocked by the demonic beast's body. Roar. Just as the 5 people attacked again, a fierce and violent aura appeared. A huge ferocious black dragon stepped on the mist and rushed out murderously. It was the dragon soul. It is indeed a demonic beast. Be careful, it's a myriad poison ink dragon. The 5 martial royal geniuses' faces changed, and they immediately flew back to attack. The myriad poison ink dragon was an extremely poisonous demonic beast. In the 100 countries battlefield, if one was poisoned by the myriad poison ink dragon, one could only wait for death. The myriad poison ink dragon roared and immediately chased after them, spitting out a large amount of venom. Although the 5 martial royal geniuses were quite talented and had many treasures, they were no match for the dragon soul. In the blink of an eye, 3 of them were killed, and 2 of them were poisoned and fled. If Qin Yu was not cultivating, the dragon soul would have already chased after them. Boom! After half an hour, a powerful aura burst out from Qin Yu's body. In the blink of an eye, Qin Yu has absorbed all of the holy energy hidden in the holy spring. After absorbing a huge amount of spiritual chi of heaven and earth, Qin Yu's cultivation broke through 2 layers consecutively. He had reached LV3 martial royal realm. In addition to his cultivation breaking through 2 layers consecutively, Qin Yu had also formed 2 more branched dragon veins. The number of branched dragon veins in his body had reached 12, which could increase his cultivation speed by 12 times. Qin Yu now had a crimson bloodline, which was equivalent to an innate spiritual vein. In other words, Qin Yu's cultivation speed was increased by 12 times with the help of the innate spiritual vein. It was easy to imagine how shocking this cultivation speed was. Qin Yu flew into the sky and was about to find the ancient pass seal when his expression suddenly changed. How dare you come back, you must be tired of living. The dragon's soul sensed something and summoned the myriad poison ink dragon. A group of figures could be seen in the distant sky, whistling through the air. The 2 martial royal geniuses who had fled after being poisoned were among them. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.